Oh, you know what I love?
Sports.
I love sports.
Sports.
When it comes to Texas A&M.
Where are you getting this information?
Let me tell you.
Welcome to TexAgs.
It's here. It's time. There's always a buzz in the air when you hit this moment.
He is a guy that has gotten better and better and better. He's just got that dog in him.
We will develop men. We will graduate players, and we will win championships on the field.
I think of him as this hawk. Before long, he's going to be swooping in on those quarterbacks.
And they embody what the school is about. It's about getting into hard situations and getting ourselves out. It's about working hard. It's about doing amazing things.
And this is a real program. It's not fake. This is a real place. And if you want to be really good at football, this is a really good place to be.
You know, if I'm betting on anybody, it's the Aggies.
So today is like the first day of school, right, OB? But for a school that you only get to see media members or schoolmates 3 times a year at most, right? Okay. There's the popular kids. I think we're in that mix. There's the dorks. They're across the way. There's the jocks, if you will. Yeah. Right? Mm-hmm. And a bunch more dorks. This is what we call SEC Media Days Day 1 2026. And this SEC Media Days coverage is brought to you by Aggie-owned and operated Paragon Financial Advisors, built on the values of the Aggie Network and proudly serving families and business owners nationwide. Learn more at paragon-adv.com. You ready, buddy?
Yeah, I'm ready. I better be.
It's here. There's a focus to the room. There's, all right, let's get to business. Greg Sankey should be hitting the podium soon. When that information comes out, I am sure we will tackle it. But, OB, today is a day of not only Greg Sankey, it's a day of first-timer Will Stein as the head coach for Kentucky. Mm-hmm. Missouri and Eli Drinkowitz will figure out if they can continue what's been, I think, a very nice run, although they haven't reached the peak of what we've seen in, what was his name back in?
Gary Pinkel.
Gary Pinkel, there we go. Brett Venables in Oklahoma and his guys, and Tennessee and Josh Heupel. Today is about those teams.
Man, you know, there's a lot of Oklahoma flavor today. You know, Josh Heupel was an Oklahoma quarterback that led them to a national championship.
Yep.
And then you mentioned all the guys from Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brett Venables happens to be their coach.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and another thing that I think is interesting, OB, and I say interesting because tomorrow is going to be the opposite, but 4 teams that A&M are going to face this year are all on the docket to hear from.
Right, yeah. I guess the first of the teams that A&M is actually going to play this year is going to be Kentucky.
Yep.
Missouri's about midway through the year. Oklahoma's at the end of the year. Okay. Get an idea, maybe a better idea of what these guys might have.
Yeah.
When they face the Aggies, I think, when you have, let's be honest, there's a lot of teams that Aggies really aren't that interested in. But the teams on your schedule, you probably want to know something about them, know a little bit more. Maybe we'll find out.
Yeah. Here's the thing. When you have a new coach, and I'm talking about Will Stein here, it can go a couple different ways. We know that there's not one uniform way to see things. But will it be this new, exciting vibe that Will Stein brings to Kentucky? Maybe what we saw a couple years back from Arizona State, like, wait, where do these guys come from? Maybe what we saw from Kevin Sumlin the first year of Texas A&M in the SEC. Is it going to be something like that? Or is it going to be a true, I've got to get my guys in here, but he's got himself a quarterback in Kenny Minchie that almost won the starting job at Notre Dame last year?
Yeah, from what I understand, that's the way it was reported, that it could have gone either way. Yep. They went with C.J. Carr. I bet at Notre Dame they wish, if he couldn't start, they probably wish they would made him a holder on field goals and extra point.
Oh, yeah, there was an issue there. Yeah. There was absolutely an issue there.
But he didn't see him last year, but we'll see him this year. So we'll probably make it a point to hear what Kenny Minchie has to say and whether or not he should have been out there. Yeah, against A&M.
The other thing is, I forget where they ranked. I think it was in the top 15. But Kentucky did excellent when it comes to the transfer portal and roster additions. And they're not a team you think about, A, from a football NIL perspective, and B, just I don't remember reading their name very often when it comes to adding guys.
Yeah, I think when you get a new coach, first of all, he's going to bring guys that he's familiar with.
Yeah.
And I think Kentucky gives you an opportunity to play right away. And
Yeah.
that's important. And I'm sure that they are at least reasonably competitive in NIL.
I would agree with that. Before we continue down this path, I do want to kind of set up the show. We don't know who we have on the show today, all right? We're going to have people, all right? This is kind of how SEC Media Days goes, is the first day, it's kind of like that first date. You're waiting to see who you're going to get on the set. We do know we have Tony Barnhart at 9 o'clock. Trey Wallace from Outkick should be joining us at some point during the 8 o'clock hour. But the remainder of the show is kind of a TBD.
Yeah, I think it's more like the old days hanging out in the singles bar, wondering who you can pick up.
Or speed dating?
Yeah, wondering who you can find. Yeah, definitely it's speed dating once they get here, right? Because it's not like we're going to have somebody on all day.
So I would say we could swipe right, swipe left.
Yes, for swiping right and left.
Yeah, for certain guests. We should.
Now, who's going to be tracking down all those guests?
Nick Savage and Callie Gardner. And, of course, we'll do our part, too. Right, like right across the way, see Cole Kublik, Greg McElroy. I know J.D. PicKell's right there as well.
Callie Garner does most of the work.
Well, she's great at what she does.
Yes.
Let's be honest.
Who can say no to her?
No, nobody. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
She's going to go up and ask somebody, hey, can you be on the show? And they're going to go, yeah, you can't say no to Callie Gardner.
Hey, I should probably tell the people the name of the show. I already told them this is SEC Media Days brought to you by Paragon Financial Advisors. But
you didn't tell them it's TexAgs Live?
TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. We are in the mobile Rollo Insurance Studio. I've never said that before.
Yeah, well, Jason Jackson, Keith, and they insure cars.
Yeah.
And everything that would take you places, so it would make sense.
This is right. We're also doing the Go Hour, and that's presented by the Warehouse at CC Creations.
CC, senor.
If you want to be a part of the conversation, there are multiple ways you can do it. One way is by doing what?
Calling us on the Buppies Catering and Bartending Hotline.
What's that number?
979-693-1150.
And you can text that number as well, but magically we clap our hands and it becomes what?
It becomes the Catalyst Pure Performance Energy PPE text line.
Before we go around the room, we should probably tackle, I think the biggest topic today is Plan B.
That's what I would think. Again, last week, SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey, who's speaking right now, made a comment about, Plan B is if the SEC can't get what they want through the what do they call that act? The
Protect College Sports Act.
College Act and whatnot. That their Plan B is for the SEC just to break off from everything and be its own entity.
Yeah.
So surely he's going to be pressed on that a little bit more.
I don't know how much he's going to say. He's an interesting person on the podium because I think he politics when he comes up here, right? Like he plays the game. He'll say certain things to send a message. I wonder, though, with that being floated earlier last week, or at the end of last week, I should say, how much he'll double down on it on the podium, or does he sidestep it?
Yeah, and I think that's going to be one of the more interesting things to gauge and kind of get a read on today.
Hey, we got some breaking news, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, what broke?
Nothing big, but I'm actually happy about this. SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey says next year SEC Football Media Days in 2027 will return to Nashville, Tennessee.
Oh, we like that.
Yeah, those dates are going to be July 12th to 15th. Our audience doesn't care, but I've been asking for Nashville for a little while, so I'm happy he's returning to Nashville.
Everything's together, so in Nashville, you don't have to.
Yeah. Well, it's as TexAgs is, by the way, you should be following TexAgs on all social media platforms, but today on Twitter, I think it's Richard Zane who's tweeting out. But this is the first bit of news at SEC Media Days, which is why I reported it right away.
Right. So Greg Sankey's up there, and he opens up with a joke, and he eventually going to start making references to 1960s rock and roll bands.
He loves talking about that.
And then he probably said, oh, and by the way, let's talk about SEC business. Next year it's going to be in Nashville.
Yeah. As for the Plan B, is there a Plan C, do you think? Because people like him usually have 2 or 3, 4 options to go with. Like, there's tier 1, like we have tiers in the SEC of teams, tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 and below. I bet you he's got different things, like stuff that he says to get the reaction. I'm gonna do a Nunoism here, okay?
Two things can be true. Or
yes,
jiu-jitsu.
but in jiu-jitsu, not that I know a lot because I get my butt kicked a lot. But that being said, in jiu-jitsu, you do something to elicit a response to get the real move that you want. Understand what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah. My wife does that all the time.
You may grab a guy's wrist to have him lift it up and then put him in a different move, okay?
Okay.
So Greg Sankey, I believe, tries to do that. He'll say something, he'll do something, and he's not – if you give him that route, he'll certainly take it, but he's setting up the third act.
Okay. I just wonder how many – because I have no idea what plan C – I know you're saying that he probably has one. He probably does. There's probably plan C and plan D. I wonder how many – times do you get down the alphabet before it's admit that plan B won't work and you grovel to for forgiveness?
Right. I think the only real options are Protect College Sports Act kind of does what the SEC and the Big Ten wants, and not everybody's happy. Group of four, Power Four, whatever, right? Not everybody's happy, but happy enough. That's one option. Option two is, all right, guys, middle finger to the air to everybody. We're going to do our own thing, but our own thing is going to be not the SEC. Our own thing in 5 years is going to be the SEC and the Big Ten and the next 12 teams, 15 teams, whatever it may be. I don't know what a third option could be, and maybe that's what today he addresses.
Maybe. I still think eventually it's going to be 64 teams, and it's going to look a lot like the NFL, just spread out a little bit more.
Yep. He also says that we didn't achieve the ultimate goal of a national championship. The strength of this conference is football is clear. In football is clear.
That's true. They didn't have the best team, but they had the most teams, and that tells me that you have the best conference top to bottom. But until you actually win it, look, for a decade, the SEC bragged and beat its chest about, hey, we've won, 11 consecutive national championships. Well, now the Big Ten
has won 3 in a row.
And so it's their chance, it's their opportunity to do the same, and you have to take it. And unless, if you don't like it, you find out a way to go and change it.
Look, the better conference is the Big Ten when we're talking about championships. The deeper conference is the SEC. And we like to, and I say me, I like to say that, but I'm coping. I'm trying to deal. Well, the reason we didn't win is because we had this grind.
Yeah, I've had this discussion, and I said, yes, but what if, who's the best player in baseball, right? Best hitter in baseball? Tony? All right, so you put him, if you put him in the lineup with a bunch of Midland guys.
Yeah.
And then you have another lineup with a bunch of guys aren't as good as him, but are much better than the other Midland guys. Who actually has a better lineup? But it doesn't matter because you're ultimately judged by who wins the championship.
Right.
So yeah, I think A&M has a better. I think the SEC has a better batting order, even though the SEC has the Big Ten has the big hitter, but until you win. You have to be, until you win again,
right?
You have to accept that the perception is that the Big Ten is the stronger conference.
Yep. Hey, let's go around the room. Let's say hi to the people. We go left to right. Nick Savage is here with us. Do we go to you or do we go to Cade? I forget what we do here. We go to you, right?
Yeah, I'll
say hi to Cade, though.
From Cade.
Hey,
sorry, because the delay will be weird. But
hey,
howdy,
Cade.
y'all.
How are you,
guys.
buddy?
I'm good. I'm happy to be here for another year. I called Nashville, by the way. I was driving up here. I drive, y'all fly.
Yep.
615 area code?
Yeah, but I was driving up here, and I was like, we're going to Nashville next year for sure. So, but I like this setup. Tampa's pretty. I've never been here before. Matt, I missed out on your not Reuben sandwich.
Cuban sandwich?
Cuban sandwich, yeah.
Hey, all right. So, look.
If you put sauerkraut on it, would it be a Cuban Reuben?
It would be a Cuban Reuben. We went, okay. You guys know me. Like, when I go out of town, I go get Cuban food often, right?
Yes.
There's a place down the way that we went to last night or yesterday for lunch. And it was all right. Like, I was disappointed because, you got to go see this movie. Like, I've heard nothing but great things about the Odyssey. And you get there and it's like, I'm sure the Odyssey's great. But you're like, it was okay. And that bummed me for you guys. I wanted you guys to have the experience. I know you had a really good experience in Miami, but Callie, Kay, Richard, they didn't have the. It was just all right. It's like we went to I'm not going to name a place, but a place is it's okay. Yeah, it's fine.
It's all right.
It's fine.
My picadillo empanadas were good.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, they're good.
I wanted an experience, a transformational experience of Cuban food, Nick. But anyway, you were saying you wish you could have gone with us.
Yeah. But I was the pack mule, but I'm a willing pack mule to drive all the gear up here.
Let me ask you a question.
Okay.
We're going to talk about today on the show what is success for Kentucky, what is success for Oklahoma, what is success for Tennessee, right, in Missouri. What is success for Nick Savage at SEC Media Days 2026?
Get everybody. That's success.
Yeah.
Not everybody, because not everyone's worthy of getting on our show. But
totally not interviewing that guy that just walked by. Not going to do that.
My favorite thing to do is spot the fake media. That's our favorite. It's better than the NFL Combine
like
by
us?
far.
Oh, my gosh.
It's way better than the NFL Combine.
Yeah, the NFL Combine, Jacob Hester walking by, I would talk to him. He was at the Combine with us.
He was too busy for us
so
at the
busy,
Combine,
yeah. Look, today and this week, it's really about, we do prep all offseason, right, OB? Like, we're constantly reading about these teams, but I think the intensity this is where it begins.
Yeah, it's like I was saying, we did a video earlier. This is, you're in the parking lot.
Yep.
This is the parking lot. You're going out to eat, but hey, first you got to get to the parking lot.
Yep.
This is the parking lot. The camp and everything that's followed until the season is walking into the restaurant, and then the season, that's when you eat.
Yep. And we're going to eat when we get back. We do get back on a Thursday. We're going to get in late, so it won't work out.
Friday works.
But Friday, I mean, even though we're going to sleep for 3 hours, Friday is where it's going to be at, buddy. And where is it going to be at?
1775. That succulent brisket. Those amazing pork ribs.
What I was going to ask you is, you have a son that's going to be moving here soon.
Yes.
Quinn. I think that would be not the going away party, but hey, let's talk about life now that you're a man party. Let's go eat some food and be like carnivores and men.
Yes, we've done that before at 1775. We'll do it again because he loved it. And the only thing is, I don't think I can arrange it where it can be just the guys because Irma loves that 1775 barbecue as much as anybody. And I don't think I can get away with that. Hey, me and Quinn, Quinn and I are going to go have that succulent brisket. Enjoy those sumptuous pork ribs and that scrumptious jalapeno cheese sausage. And as she says, you think you're going to go get that queso mac and cheese without me?
Nah.
Hell no.
Hell nah.
Yeah. So, but I find 1775. I can see it in my very near future.
Call them up, 979-492-6241, or visit the website 1775txbpq.com. It is 1775, and it's
good.
Ay, que rico.
Hey everyone, David Nuno here of TexAgs Live. I want to introduce you to the team at Holistic Planning. Got Jason Barber here, Taylor Pankratz, and also Paul Meredith. Jason, I want to start off with you. What really sets Holistic Planning apart from the others?
Yeah, so what makes us different is most financial advisors stop at investment management. On the other hand, Holistic Planning, we manage investments, taxes, and estate planning all on one team, all underneath one roof.
Now, Taylor, when everything is coordinated like that, it really helps the bottom line, doesn't it?
It really does. When your investments and taxes are working together, you stop leaving money on the table and keep more of what's yours.
Paul, Holistic Planning is trying to expand as well.
That's true. We just opened our Houston office, and we're looking for people who feel like their advisor isn't seeing the full picture, because that's exactly what we fix.
And Jason, there's other opportunities beyond that.
Definitely. If you're a financial advisor and you want to join the Holistic Planning team, we're looking to add 50 teams in the next 5 to 10 years. So check out holisticplanning.com/advisors.
All right, so if you want a team that actually coordinates everything, go to holisticplanning.com. Aggies, this one is worth it.
Back here on TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. The Go Hour, presented by The Warehouse at CC Creations. SEC Media Days, our coverage from here is brought to you by Paragon Financial Advisors. David, OB, lots of chit-chat. And JD PicKell, our good friend from On3. What's up, brother?
I'm with Texas royalty right now, between yourself and Ola. This is cool. This is very cool for me.
Well, I'm surrounded by On3 royalty, excuse me. Yeah, we've got Blaine Crane over there. I know that I saw Andy Staples earlier. What's going on with you?
It's a full house, man. It's great. I feel like Media Days, I think, kind of gets a bad rap in our space because I think a lot of people sort of moan and groan and say, oh, it's just talking season. This is like the first actual thing we have that tells us it's college football season. So yeah. I love this. I think this is awesome. Go ahead, Obi.
Yeah, well,
he's like, no, not me.
When you've done 20 in a row, let's see.
That's fair.
If it's just as awesome.
That's very fair.
But let me say this.
Yeah.
There are two national podcasts that I try to never miss.
Okay.
Or podcasters. And I mean this sincerely. Josh Pate, JD PicKell.
Hey, I appreciate that.
That's pretty great. I remember when you first started, I think you came on TexAgs right away, wasn't it?
Tried to.
Yeah.
I mean, y'all were kind enough to have us on, but yeah, tried to get in the mix and be around what you guys have built in College Station. And yeah, we were smart enough to be around y'all, yeah.
From the 4 teams talking today, JD, who do you think makes the biggest jump? Okay, and obviously, the better you are, the harder it is to make a jump, right? Like gym gains. Like, it's easier when you're a newbie, but Kentucky's got a long way to go, obviously. Missouri has been floundering in that same kind of area. Do they take a step back? Tennessee, the questions at quarterback, and OU, they're already a playoff team. Can they continue that? So when I say that, I guess it's based on what this season's expectations are.
I think Oklahoma can compete for a national championship. I just think there is way fewer holes than maybe what the narrative presents nationally, because we look at John Mateer and how he struggled last year, and it's very fair to look at what he was in terms of how the offense struggled those last couple of games, only scored 17 points, whatever. I think when he's healthy, he is one of the best quarterbacks in college football. That defense is going to give everyone problems. So I think them jumping from playoff to national title contender is real. I think Tennessee's sneaky. Like y'all ever hear about how like hippopotamuses kill so many people every single year?
Yeah.
But like you look at them, like, cute hippopotamus, unassuming, they're adorable, but like they're lethal. They'll sneak up on you.
Yeah.
That's Tennessee. Tennessee's like kind of this fun story. Josh Heupel's a great coach. Tennessee, the power to you, whatever. I think they're going to be a problem for a lot of people. I don't know if they're a playoff team, but I think they could be a 9-win team this year.
What about them leads you to believe that?
I think there's so much security outside of the quarterback position. Like they bring back 5 guys on the offensive line with 7 starts or more. You got 2 of your top 3 receivers back. Got a 1,000-yard back in Deshaun Bishop, who's back. And so as we start to zoom out, it's like, yeah, I'd love if quarterback was figured out, but everything around that quarterback should provide a little bit of cushion to figure things out. Defensively, massive question, understandably so. I think Jim Knowles bringing over a lot of people on staff from Penn State as well as players from Penn State should help expedite that learning curve a little bit. So still have to see it in person, obviously, for it to be a real thing. But I like Tennessee this year.
JD, I know you've been big on A&M this offseason. Give me a why beyond Coach Elko. Like something about the roster you're like, yeah, that's why.
It's funny because it all ties back to Coach Elko.
Doesn't it?
I think the way they have anticipated the holes they would have to fill this year, which obviously is a Coach Elko thing, but at a roster level and a coaching staff level as well, like they knew they weren't keeping Colin Klein probably past last season. They knew he was going to take a head job, whether it was Oklahoma State or whether it was Kansas State, wherever. So the ability to prepare for that and to see that coming, I have a lot of confidence in that process. I get excited about the receiver room. I don't know about y'all. Like Isaiah Horton adding another genre of playmaker is really exciting to me, because you had Casey Concepcion last year, who was, first round, unbelievable, right?
Out of this world, yeah.
There's no way to spin that as a positive, losing him. But having a guy with a catch radius like Isaiah Horton, kind of being more in that Noah Thomas mold almost, and having a guy opposite in Craver, I think that's going to be a lot of fun to watch. I'm excited for that.
One of the reasons A&M was so good last year, you just touched on it, was some of the guys that maybe weren't high-profile additions through the transfer portal. Are we to the point now that how successful you're going to be is dependent on your success rate? I mean, finding those guys on the road. For instance, last year LSU was expected to be really good,
yeah.
But they had gone all in. They were number one recruiting class,
transfer portal
class, and they missed on a lot of the guys.
Yeah. I think that's why I have confidence in A&M long term. Is even before he took the job at A&M, you talk to people in the space about how Elko works and what makes him a great coach. And one of the things that always gets brought up is, hey, he's really smart. He's a great evaluator. And so what you just said, via the portal, I think that is a non-negotiable in terms of how you succeed in modern college. Like, you cannot just look at the portal and treat it as like an option. Like, you have to use the portal every year. And so with that being how the world is going to work now here in modern college football, having a guy who's so well-versed in evaluation, I think that's why you see him have success, why you see Signetti flip Indiana in 2 years. I mean, just elite evaluators.
I want to go back to the wide receiver point, because you're exactly right. You lose a guy like Casey Concepcion, you can't expect the room to be better. That being said, I think they can be deeper. Aaron Gregory, this freshman wide receiver, he's going to get some playing time. We've seen what ABR has been able to do as he grew into a player, Ashton Bethel-Roman last year. Terry Bussey has some room to grow. And now you add Isaiah Horton. And Mario Craver, we haven't even talked about him yet, who could be he is the best wide receiver in the room. How far does his game go this year?
Ready for the Terry Bussey year, huh?
Yeah.
I feel like
We've been waiting.
Every media days, I'm like, this is the year, baby. They got this guy. He's an athlete. It's funny. You look at Marcel Reed's numbers last year, and as good as they were, from PFF's perspective at least, like, had a lot of drops he was working with. I think A&M was top 10 in all of college football in terms of drops. So if you can be, like you said, deeper, maybe even just more reliable, like, how far of a step does his game take? Having another guy in Isaiah Horton, like I said, the catch radius thing. If one of the things we're talking about with Marcel Reed so much is, hey, I wish he was a little bit less, what's the right way to say this? Setting his feet is going to help him with accuracy. If he is still progressing in that, and he's a touch inaccurate to start, having a guy who can jump out the gym at 6'3", 6'4", and has the ability to go up to the top rope and snag it, going to be a big advantage for him. So in terms of Mario Craver, having less attention on him and having another kind of playmaker to demand attention, I think it's going to be huge.
Yeah, I feel really good. We even say the wide receiver room is still the best position at A&M. The biggest question, I think, is going to be on, besides the offensive line. Well, that is the biggest question. But they were so good on defense last year, and you lose the player of the year, and you wonder where the pass rush is going to come from. Do you have much intel on guys like Anto Sock and what they've done before?
In terms of just what we're hearing from the folks in College Station, much like y'all, Marco Jones, Anto Sock, like those two guys, I'm not so concerned about their ability to rush the passer. I'm more intrigued to see how those guys show up in the run game and the push they get. Whether it's responsible or not, I think as long as Mike Elko's in charge of your defense, however that looks by title, I think they'll be pretty well versed or well suited to rush the passer. So the intel on those guys in terms of what they do stopping the run is what excites me the most in that front seven.
Before we let you go, I know you're high on Texas as well. Give me a reason that they could have a season similar to last year, and a reason that they can do what they were expected to do last year and this year.
Is Arch Manning too short of an answer for both of those? That's kind of where I fall in it. I think him paired with the offensive line is why they would fall short. Like, I am of the opinion, the thing I've said for a while here is, like, 4 dates into a relationship, there's compatibility, there's a certain level of attraction, you were excited about that person, you're not ready to propose. Like, I'm kind of at that stage with Arch Manning. I think that he is wildly talented. Could he win the Heisman Trophy? 100%. I need to see more than 6 games. I need to see more than, like, 2 of those last 6 games having less than 50% completion percentage. So there's a lot there where I like the trend. I'm not ready to jump all the way into that pool and say he's going to do X, Y, and Z just yet.
JD, always great stuff, brother.
Appreciate
Thanks for joining us,
so
man.
much.
Thank you very much. All right, we'll hit a break here. When we come back on TexAgs Live, we'll figure it out. We'll chit-chat. We'll do more. We'll probably have a guest. Right now, there's something special about the Aggie Network. It's built on trust, relationships, and people looking out for each other. And that's why I'm talking to you about Paragon Financial Advisors. That's exactly how they're run, and they approach their financial planning. Their headquarters is in College Station. They serve individuals, families, business owners nationwide with independent fee-only fiduciary advice. So whether you're preparing for retirement, growing your investments, building your business, or planning for an eventual sale of that business, Paragon works alongside you, giving you every stage of the journey. No commissions, no product sales, just personalized financial planning and investment management designed around your goals. Learn more and schedule your complimentary consultation at paragon-adv.com. It is Paragon Financial Advisors, Aggie-owned, independent, serving clients nationwide.
Hey friends, David Nuno here for the Association of Former Students, and have you checked out the latest issue of the Texas Aggie magazine? The May through June issue is a special Aggie Spirits issue that includes all things Aggie: wine, beer, mead, spirits, and much, much more. And the team at the Association of Former Students searched far and wide for Aggie-owned businesses, breweries, wineries across the state, the country, and even the world. That's right, the globe, baby. And as much as could be found has been compiled into the magazine for the Aggie Network. Now, normally, the Texas Aggie magazine is available only to Century Club members. However, this issue is available to everyone. So to read the issue and explore giving to receive future issues, visit tx.ag/Texas Aggie. That is tx.ag/Texas Aggie. Again, don't miss the special Aggie Spirits issue of the Texas Aggie to explore all things Aggie: wine, beer, mead, spirits, and much, much more. It is tx.ag/Texas Aggie. Check it out. Hey everyone, David Nuno of TexAgs Live, and I'm here with Brandon Moreau of Brazos Valley Floor and Design. They're a family-owned business, and Brandon used to work for the A&M football team, the Texans, you name it. Brandon, tell us a little bit about Brazos Valley Floor and Design.
Yeah, like I said, family business. We started in 1999. It was in a small feed store, and about 4 years later, my dad decided he wanted to grow the business and kind of focus on that. So we're in the location we are at now, and we have a large showroom with salespeople with designer experience, a lot of stocking power, and we catered a lot to residential builders, and we do a little commercial work as well.
Tell me about your other company as well, Premier Countertop Design.
Yeah, Premier Countertop Design is right there on site, so it's kind of a one-stop shop. People can come by, they can look at their slabs that they're going to cut, they're going to compare to their cabinet colors, their backsplash that they're going to do at our flooring store, and we have a lot of digital. We're doing a lot of digital stuff. We're templating, water jet, laser measuring, all different things like that.
So tell me a little bit about what sets you guys apart from the rest of the competition.
I think just being here in the community for 27 years in business, and our vendors that we have, the relationships with, the pricing we can get because of how much we can buy in stock and things like that. And then as far as the countertop business, it's just the way we can be precise with what we do.
All right, there you have it, guys. Check out the website, bvfloorandddesign.com and premiercountertopdesign.com.
We are back. It is disaster ensues on TexAgs Live. Picked up the freaking wrong mic. We are at SEC Media Days. Looks like the beautiful river right in front of us. Presented by Paragon Financial Advisors. Not the river, but just the view is fantastic of a building and a little bit of water. OB, we got some little bit of news that I wanted to get to, if you don't mind. This is from Pete Thamel.
Okay.
Sources. The latest discussions about the Protect College Sports Act most scrutinized section, realignment restrictions, has a brand new focus. Okay.
Okay.
The discussion centers around leagues being capped at 19 teams. The Big Ten currently has 18. The SEC has 16, for example. So remember, initially they were going to freeze. You can't add anybody.
Yeah.
Now they're saying you can add, but you can only add a little bit more.
See, that, all right, you know what?
Stupidity?
Well, it said 20. Why would you say 19?
Yeah.
Because eventually, I really believe you're going to have to be in some kind of divisions.
Yeah.
So why would you say 19? You can't have any balanced kind of divisions with 19.
No, you cannot. No, it's stupid.
I guess they're saying, hey, we're just going to make sure we have room for the Big Ten to add Notre Dame.
Yeah, and that's it. And then the SEC, you can add your Clemson, you can add your Florida State, you can add your Miami. No, it'd probably be
North Carolina.
Yeah.
But why 19? Now, if you said 24, I could say they're on to something.
They're on to something. Let me read you a little bit more from your friend Pete Thamel, who you've never met, have you?
I've never met him.
I didn't think so. For the league to have a Power 4 conference to join another, they'd have to play 5 years as an independent. The group of 6 schools would be allowed to move up in the latest discussions. I don't know if that makes sense to me. Read that again.
It's starting to sound like they want to do, your European, kickball stuff.
Bro, that game was great yesterday. Come on. Yeah, but I don't hear anything about promotion regulation. He also says the current version of the bill was set to freeze all leagues making more than $700 million, and that was met with strong pushback.
So they're saying, all right, say that again. They're free.
Yeah. This is written in a way that, maybe I'm just not smart enough. I need my friend ChatGPT or Claude to help me. The current version of the bill was set to freeze all of the leagues making more than $700 million, and that was met with strong push. So you couldn't make more? You're
I don't know if that means you can't make more or that you can't. I don't know. If that's what it means, how are you going to tell somebody how much money they can make?
Yeah, that is. I think that's ridiculous.
That's socialism.
Well, but then what they'll say is, well, you're trying to cap the players what they can make in NIL. That's socialism.
Well, I think what eventually they're going to have to do is have some players' representation that's going to come to an agreement, and then it's not.
Yeah. I don't know. I want resolution, and I have to talk about it on the show because it is relevant to the future of the sport, but I'm sick of talking about it, if that makes any sense.
Well, I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to save the lesser conferences.
Yeah. OB, I'm going to ask you something similar to what I asked JD, but I want your perspective on this, all right? Which team from today, and we may do this daily, but which team from today is most likely to outperform expectations? Your options are Kentucky, Missouri, Oklahoma, Tennessee. Kentucky, right?
Well, not necessarily. In fact, the first thing that came to my mind was I got to understand what the expectations are. And I would say that based on what I think the expectations are and what their history has done is still Missouri.
Okay.
I don't know that Missouri has grandiose expectations put upon them. And yet Missouri typically exceeds what everybody thinks they're going to do.
Okay, so what do you think people are thinking about them? 8-win team?
They're probably thinking they're an 8-win team, and I think they might, be a team that jumps up there and
could win 9.
Could win, or at least contends, gets in the conversation in November, of playoff conversation in November. I don't see why they would do that because they lost so much really on defense. Yeah. But I know he looks kind of like he projects as kind of nerdy. But Drinkwitz puts a good team out every year.
He does. All right. So,
but I don't know what are the expectations?
Let me set some expectations. I would say for Kentucky, the hope/expectation would be being better than last year, right? But a 6-win season. Okay. Can they exceed that? Missouri, I think the expectation is an 8-win season.
Okay.
I think Oklahoma, the expectation is a 10-win season. That's the expectation.
Okay, if that's the expectation.
Okay. Tennessee, I think, and when I say expectation, I'm not saying diehard fans. Everybody, we're 11 wins.
No,
right. Like what national media is predicting. And I don't have it in front of me, but let me do SEC win expectations in 2026, okay? So I got that here. So what we have for all those teams, Oklahoma, it may be Oklahoma. Apparently Vegas says 7.5 wins is their.
Well, yeah, if that was the expectation, I would expect Oklahoma to do better than that.
Kentucky 4.6 wins projected. How do you get a 0.6? But that's what it says. Okay.
Maybe they meant 5, and they're just, it's right next to the key. It happens to me all the time. I hit the wrong key.
Missouri 6.5. Yeah, they should be better than that.
Yeah, see, I think Missouri's going to be better than that team that's just trying to get into a bowl game.
Tennessee 7.5. I think that is the perfect number for Tennessee.
See, I don't know that I am on board with what I'm completely on board with what JD said about Oklahoma. I'm not sure that I want to agree with that about Tennessee. He thinks they could be pretty. Oh, I think they're going to be a disappointment this year.
I agree with you. And when we were going through,
he's in Nashville, so he gets more information.
He gets more intel than we do.
Tennessee.
Yeah, but when I was going through my 25 and 25 yesterday with Billy, I was in. I don't know if you were there. You were there on the other side of the table. I kind of give these parameters. I have a hard time putting kickers or special teamers. I'm not saying I won't, right? But there's certain ways that I evaluate that 25 and 25. When I'm evaluating a team, if I have huge question marks about the quarterback position in the SEC, okay? And defense, right? Or for even A&M, offensive line, right? There are question marks. Even though I feel good about the talent they've acquired, there are question marks. I have a hard time going in on a team being that until they prove it to me, like you say, with your own eyes.
Right.
So with Tennessee, thinking that they might have Joey Aguilar, and then they don't, and now they have, these quarterbacks that they think could be really good. When you're a first-time starter, I'm sorry, I'm just like Arch Manning, right? Just like many others in the past. You have to prove it to me. How long does it take for you to understand the way the game is played at this level, at this speed?
Yeah, 10 years ago, maybe more, Auburn had a quarterback, Jeremy Johnson, and a lot of national people were giving this guy the Heisman Trophy before the season started. I don't think he finished the year as their starter because he just wasn't very good. But people see things, or at least sometimes they think they see things that aren't there. Maybe I hear this Tennessee kid. I think it was actually Marcel Reed's dad texted me one time, said, "Hey, here's their quarterback. He's actually pretty good."
Yeah.
All right. So, and I can't even think of the young man's name. So it might be. Yeah. But then he also said, well, yeah, but they have these issues on defense, but I'm counting on the defense coordinator. I'm like, maybe, but.
Again, I'm not saying it won't happen. I don't know enough. But what I am saying is the law of averages would say is very difficult when you have questions at quarterback, and there are questions, for you to be a playoff-worthy team, even in the 12-team era.
So, back to your original question. If 7.5 is the number on Oklahoma, they're going to exceed.
I agree with that.
If 4.5 is the answer on the expectation on Kentucky, they will exceed.
Missouri 6.5. They should exceed that.
Yeah, or meet expectation. I don't see them not getting in a bowl game. The one team that I'd have the biggest question on today is Tennessee.
Yeah.
But I've been pretty consistent with that. And I may be dead wrong. I mean, I'm not living in a mansion in Vegas.
But I think the reason 7.5 to me is a good number for them is I could see them winning 8. I could absolutely see them only winning 7. It's a good number.
I'd have to look at their schedule, but I'm sure they have 3 non-conference games that they're going to be favored in.
Well, I got their schedule right here, Olin Buchanan. I'm sure Cade can put it up on the screen as well. They open up with Furman, win.
They're going to beat them, Furman Bishers.
Okay, then they go to Georgia Tech. That's a question.
I always, not always, 90% of the time in a non-conference game, I will take the SEC team.
Yep. Then they host Kennesaw State.
They're going to win that one.
They host Texas.
I'm probably going to take Texas in that.
Okay, so at this point, if everything's going great, they're 3-1. Auburn, they're hosting Auburn, I should say. I'll take them.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a coin flip, but okay.
4-1. They go to Arkansas.
They're going to win that one.
5-1. They host Alabama.
I'll probably take Alabama.
Okay, so 5-2. They go to South Carolina. That's either way.
Yeah, it's a toss-up, but give them the win.
Okay. 6-2. They host Kentucky.
Okay, they're going to. I pick them over Kentucky.
7-2. They go to A&M.
I think A&M will win that.
7-3. They host LSU.
I would probably take LSU.
7-4. Tennessee. Oh, excuse me. They play themselves. Vanderbilt on the road.
Probably a toss-up.
Right.
So if they win all their toss-up games.
They're a 9-win team.
If they win all their toss-up games.
Yeah. And look.
And they probably, if they go 500 in their toss-up games or one over because it might be an odd number, then they may not.
I don't think they have a very hard schedule. Well, their schedule seems to be spread out.
We don't know what Georgia Tech is.
We don't know what Georgia Tech is. We don't know what LSU is. We expect them to be upper tier-ish, right?
Auburn's talking big.
Yep. So,
of course, so I'm going to, until my eyes show me something different, I'm going to be skeptical about Tennessee.
Well, I think we need to I think the 7.5 number, as I said earlier, is the right number for them. I think that is the absolute right number.
So if you had to put your paycheck on it, are you taking the under or over at 7.5 on Tennessee?
I'll take the over.
Okay, I take the under.
So, okay, you think they're a 7-win team?
7-win or less.
Yeah, I just think that if that schedule, you know what?
What we need to do, you and I, we need to get the. It doesn't even have to be SEC teams, but we get all SEC teams, get their under over. We need to just
go through it.
And then at the end of the year, we just see how we work.
Decide who's the best. All right, we'll hit a break here. We'll come back with one final segment here on the Go Hour presented by The Warehouse at CC Creations. We're talking about Heritage Films now. Everybody's got a great story, and you may not value your own personal story as much as what I think your kids would or your wife would or your grandfather, your husband, whoever it may be listening right now. But I'm telling you, people love to hear stories about back in the day. Like our family started like this. Our family did that. Our family business. This was our first can of corn we sold. I know guys who sell corn. Anyway, Heritage Films will tell that story, and they do it so eloquently and so classy. Chance McClain and his team do a great job telling your family's business story, your family ranch story, or just your dad, uncle, whoever it may be, his story. Call Chance up at 713-893-8341. That's 713-893-8341. Or visit yourheritagefilm.com. That's yourheritagefilm.com.
Everybody, David Nuno here from TexAgs, here with some of our new friends from Frog Slayer. We've got the CEO, Ross Morrell, and the VP of Revenue, Jacob Stone. Ross, I want to start off with you. Who is Frog Slayer? What do you all do?
Yeah, Frog Slayer is a custom software, AI and automation company. We're based here in College Station. We've got about 50 employees right here, almost all Aggies. We've been doing this since 2005, about 21 years. Really what we do is we partner with business owners of growing businesses. And our goal is to come in, help them actually realize the promised technology in their company so they can create a company that is worth more than is tomorrow, that is today, and run a better business.
Jacob, I do want to ask you, what's different about Frog Slayer's approach when it comes to AI?
Yeah, absolutely. So we don't just do AI, we do AI right. And so what that means is we embed ourselves inside of our client's team, and we help them plan, build, and ship solutions that they can deploy to a production environment that anyone can use.
All right, Ross, I've got to ask you, why the name Frog Slayer?
Yeah, it's an old riff off Mark Twain quote. So he said, the hardest thing you got to do today is eat a frog. It's best to do it first thing in the morning. So that's kind of our ethos of doing hard things first. And it's also a nice tie into gigging.
Yeah, I love that. Jacob, let's close out. Where can we all find Frog Slayer?
Yes, you can find us online at frogslayer.com.
All right, thank you very much to both of you, Ross and Jacob. Check out Frog Slayer.
The final segment of the program is brought to you by Double Dave's. That's at 10:50. But right now, caller number 12, 979-693-1150. We're going to hook you up with your choice of a dozen pepperoni rolls or a large one-topping pizza from Double Dave's. They've been serving Aggieland since 1984 with your favorite pizza. And, of course, those world-famous pepperoni rolls, reliable in-house delivery, bringing piping hot goodness straight to your door. Just click on doubledaves.com, and your favorites are on their way. Olin, here's another thing that SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey said on revisions to the Protect College Sports Act. Do you have to bat 1,000? You never give up those things in conversations. They're all worth consideration and inclusion. Whether we see that remains to be seen.
Well, you don't have to agree to anything that you don't like.
Yeah.
But, yeah, you don't bat 1,000. And in fact, I think the plan B about breaking off, I think that's... Well, what is it? Trump has the art of the deal, and you start off, you ask for something that you may not even want.
Yeah.
But you just, to just set some crazy parameters, and you start meeting in the middle. And I think that's how you do it when you're sometimes negotiating for a salary.
Sure,
it's just part of negotiation. So, yeah, you're not going to get 1,000%. Or you're not going to bat 1,000 trying to get everything you want. But there are certain things, that are deal breakers.
One other thing he says, we don't have an idea of the clear media interest of an expanded playoff. We do know that we have an understanding of what happened when we went to 12. Second, the calendar is challenging. There is a line in the Protect College Sports Act that requires college football season to be completed by January 8th. They can push that back to January 20th. I think all of us would be fine with that.
15th.
Yeah, I like New Year's Eve ending the season personally. Back in the day, that's what it felt, or New Year's Day, I should say.
Yeah. But if New Year's Day was the semifinals,
yeah, we'd be fine with that.
That would be pretty.
Yeah. All right, OB, go enjoy the rest of your day, buddy. Go do the real work now.
Yep, it's time.
All right, we'll hit a break. We'll come back. I believe Mr. College Football, Tony Barnhart, soon, if not next, on TexAgs Live. And we are back. It is TexAgs Live. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. Hour number 2 of the program and our SEC Media Days coverage is brought to you by Paragon Financial Advisors, Aggie-owned independent, fee-only fiduciary serving families and business owners nationwide. Visit paragon-adv.com. Our guest here on the program, Tony Barnhart, Mr. College Football, who is actually a board member on the Bobby Dodd Coach of the Year Foundation, and he's here to chit-chat about that and all things college football. Tony, it's been a minute, sir. How are you?
It's been good. It's good. It's hard to believe we're getting ready to get things cranked up. This is going to be a lot of fun.
Talk to us about the Bobby Dodd Award and how you got involved and what it supports.
Well, as you might imagine, I get asked to do put my name to a lot of different things, but this is by far the one that means the most to me. The Bobby Dodd Trophy, the Bobby Dodd Coach of the Year, is different than other Coach of the Year awards in that it's not only winning and losing. That's important, but winning and losing is secondary to community service, how you do academically, and things of that nature. The thing that makes it neat is when the Dodd Trophy is voted on by board of directors. I'm a member of the board of directors, and we present the award on campus. We moved there, and 2 years ago we were at Notre Dame when Marcus Freeman won it, and had a great reception there with Coach Freeman. He was super, and it's just a very, very, the pillars of the award are scholarship, leadership, and integrity, and I'm proud to have my name associated with it.
Tony, I would assume that the cast of characters that are up for the award every year probably is very similar, right? Because it's a culture thing. When you preach academics, you preach community service, you try to win on the field, like all those things. Mm-hmm. I know you guys pop in, obviously, but I think there's probably when you have a guy like Marcus Freeman, he's probably been a candidate a couple times.
No question. And he'll be a candidate this year. Yeah. No question. And they have a Dodd Watch Award list that they'll print it out from time to time. So yeah, you're right. It'll be the same usual set of circles because the pool of coaches that can win this award is smaller than the pool of coaches that can win the other National Coach of the Year awards.
So how's this last year been for you? Because last time we did this show, I mean, you've done the show before, but at SEC Media Days, you were transitioning to a different part of your career.
Yeah. Well, I announced my retirement, but what I have to do is I am technically retired, but what I wanted to do is make one last tour around the conference. I didn't get to every school, but I'll share this with you. Texas Ags, I had a wonderful, wonderful visit at Texas A&M and did something that's been on my bucket list for 40 years, and that's the midnight yell.
You did it.
And I did it at my buddy Alan Cannon. Yeah. I called AC. I said, AC, I got to knock this. I want to do this. He says, don't worry, Tony, I will take care of you. And he ushered me around and showed me everything.
Oh,
and I had a blast. I went to R.C. Slocum's house to see what he's done to all these awards there. So I had a great, great visit at Texas A&M.
My understanding is that you have a book coming out soon.
I do have a book coming out, and that's in the Midnight Yell Practice is in the book, and it's the title is Mr. College Football: 50 Years of SEC Memories, and 18 chapters, 16, one on each conference team, and where I go, and it's not just great players, great coaches, and all that. It's really about memories, and the fact that I could get the Midnight Yell checked off my bucket list. Went to see Barry Switzer at Oklahoma. Spent some time with him. That was a great visit. Coach Steve Spurrier's wife Jerry and my wife Maria are best buddies, and they held a reception for us in Gainesville, Florida. Oddly enough, at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill, and that was an incredible night. We had Danny Werfel showed up. And a bunch of his former players and a bunch of my media buddies down in Florida showed up. So it's been a lot of fun. But yeah, a chapter on each of the 16 teams and my favorite memories of that team.
All right, so let's go on a time machine. All right, let's go to the beginning of the century, 2000. If Mr. College Football from 2000 came to 2026, what would he think about the current state of the SEC? What would he think about the current state of college football? The expansion we've seen in the conference, the expansion we've seen in the playoffs, not only the expansion, back then we were voting for a national champion. So What would he think?
Well, first thing he would think is that the game, what's ironic about all this is that the game itself, the game that's played on the field that we watch on Saturdays is better than it's ever been. It's a great, great game that always delivers. Now, the fact that they didn't do a very good job to keep some guardrails on this thing and turn it into the wild, wild west. And we're going to get there. It's just going to take time, but they did not do a good job of seeing this coming down the road. And nobody did anything to stop the runaway train. So right now we've got Congress involved, of all things.
Yeah.
But it could be that Congress is the only way out by giving the school some antitrust exemption. So, yeah, I think Mr. College Football of 2020 would be disappointed that we ever let it get out of hand, but they'll figure it out.
Well, do you think, I feel like the Protect College Sports Act, while I love it in theory, there's still too many naysayers and against it. I want it like this, I want it like that. Sankey has said his thing, the Big Ten has said their thing, the smaller schools have said their thing. Do you think we can all get on the same page?
Yeah, because we're going to have to. We don't have to do it we'll have to do it when the TV contracts come up. Yeah. And everybody's got to decide where they're going to stake things out. But yeah, we'll get it figured out. We always do.
What do you think about Texas A&M in particular this year, heading into this, after a really nice second year of Coach Elko, but making the playoffs? What do you expect for them in year 3?
They're my dark horse. I think that's a team. Mike Elko's a really good coach. Yeah. I mean, he really is. If you sit there and watch the guy, having Marcel Reed, I think he's going to have a big year. I just think it's a good situation. I think they're going to have a big year. Now, who do they beat that they're not supposed to beat? I don't know, but that's going to be the difference.
Yeah, I can certainly see that. Marcel has some weapons around him. The SEC, their schedule's loaded. Let's talk about some of the teams they're going to face that are on the podium today. Tennessee, obviously, quarterback is going to be a big question for them. What do you expect from Tennessee this year?
I think Tennessee, they're not in that first tier of teams. They're not in the Georgia, LSU, Texas, Oklahoma set of teams, Texas A&M set of teams, but they're going to get there because we've seen what Josh Heupel can do. Once he's got to settle on his quarterback, and once he does that, he'll be fine.
Well, when you talk about these tiers, do you have A&M in that top tier, or do you have it broken into? A lot of people have Texas, Georgia, and this sub tier 1 or sub A, and then
I think it's Texas and Georgia and LSU and Texas A&M and Ole Miss and Oklahoma.
Okay.
I think all of those teams are the same, and that's a good thing. All those teams are the same. I've said this will be the 3rd straight year I will say this. SEC, maybe the 4th straight year. SEC has a lot of really good teams. I'm not sure there's a great team there. Texas might be a great team. If Georgia can figure out some things offensively, particularly the wide receiver position, they could be a great team. I think LSU's got too many players. They could be a great team, but we'll see. And it's all about, by the way, did we mention that you're playing 9 conference games this year? Which is going to make it more difficult to get there. And the other thing I tell people, this is going to be the year. Somebody who's 9-3 is going to make the college football playoff, and it's going to be this year because of that 9th conference game.
I'm glad you brought up the 9th conference game because I have 2 parts to the way I look at it. The fan in me is like, oh, another hard game. The spectator in me, the other fan in me is like, this is great. Let's go.
Let's go. Well, the coaches were not fond of it, but they said, okay, look, if you'll expand the playoff field, then you can go to 9 conference games. And that was the deal.
Yeah.
And now the coaches are wondering, is the committee, and there's going to be a lot of pressure on the committee, is the committee going to understand, and this is the arrogant SEC guy talking here, but that a 9-3 SEC team is better than a 10-2 Big 12 team. I'm sorry, that's just a fact, in my opinion.
Well, going back to last season, I know Texas Tech had a really nice year, but when A&M lost 1 regular season game and they dropped out of that top 4 spot, and I don't know if they were worthy of 4 or 5, but had they had that loss to Texas earlier in the year, they would have absolutely been a top 4 seed.
That's exactly right. Well, this lobbying effort on the committee's part, it's really up to them, and they've got to understand the strength of schedule component, not just give lip service to it. And that, to me, that is the line. Okay, 10-2 Texas Tech, 9-3 whoever.
Right.
and that SEC team should get in.
So let me ask you about that SEC. They haven't won the national championship in 3 years. They haven't been to the national championship game in a couple years.
Horrible. It's
horrible. But they're still the SEC, brother.
I said, I have it on good authority. The SEC will indeed field football this year. Oh, good. Well, good. I mean, good for
the Big Ten.
For the Big Ten.
Yeah.
Good for the Big Ten. I mean, they've done a good job, but it's all cyclical. It's all going to come back around. So,
but to me, and I think this year the Big Ten is a little better throughout the conference than they were the last couple of years. But the SEC, you have 10, 11 teams that can compete for it.
That's exactly right. You have 10 or 11 teams on the SEC roster that could beat almost any team in the Big Ten roster. And again, that's a fact. And nobody likes to hear that. They say, well, you arrogant SEC guys, you're just in love with your league. And I'm sitting there watching them play.
Yeah,
they're better.
Before I let you go, Coach Elko, just give me some thoughts on what he's building. I know we talked about the program, but just the way he goes about his business, kind of reminiscent to the gentleman you went to go visit, R.C. Slocum, a few weeks back.
I sit there, and when you go to Texas A&M, I mean, you look at all the renovation, $450 million they did at Kyle Field. Somebody told me, I said, boy, ain't life nice when oil is $90 a barrel? All the when you ask about it, he said, are all the elements there for Texas A&M to win a national championship? Absolutely. Are you kidding me? Absolutely. But you got to figure out a way to win the close games.
Yeah.
And all these 50-50 games, the SEC has more 50-50 games than any conference in the country. And how do you come out of those 50-50 games?
Yeah, you're exactly right. So, again, let's close it up with the Bobby Dodd Trophy, or the Coach of the Year Award. Who are some guys we should be looking out for?
Well, it's the usual suspects. It'll be the Marcus Freemans. It'll be the Kirby Smart. I think Kirby Smart has done a tremendous job. And it's a small pool, but it's a good pool.
Tony, appreciate your time as always, sir.
As always, my friend. Good to see you.
Great seeing you. Mr. College Football, Tony Barnhart here on TexAgs Live. All right, a couple things before we hit a break. We'll get to some messages and whatnot. But to kind of wrap up a little bit of what Tony was talking about is the fact that I have a hard time personally. Have a hard time talking about the SEC being the better conference when they're not winning the game that matters. That being said, you can't deny the fact that the better teams overall, the harder schedules, were all in the Southeastern Conference. But you can't use that as a talking point to defend yourself, talking about, but we had that, when you're not winning the big game. As for Tony, and I believe he had a little bit more optimistic view that they're all going to get on the same page when it comes to the future of college football. That is certainly possible. We might actually see that. I hope we do see that. But you can't cap teams at 19 to expand conferences. You cannot do that. You cannot, limit the amount of money a conference makes. You can't do all that. So that's going to be something that I think in the next couple of weeks they're going to have to iron out. But again, with the recess coming in August, if they don't get this figured out here in the next couple of days, it ain't going to happen, which means it ain't going to happen at least at this point. All right, so here's the deal. We're going to hit a break here in a moment. When we come back on TexAgs Live, I believe we're going to have Trey Wallace of Outkick the Coverage. He'll be here with us. After that, Conor O'Gara. I know we're going to go get some insiders from some of these programs talking. I see Jacob Hester walking by again. We'll try to get him as well. And if Congress doesn't fix college football, how long does Sankey wait? Those are all the storylines we're going to get into here on TexAgs Live. All right, but right now we're talking Rollo Insurance. The difference is real. They're an independent insurance company built around educating you on exactly what you're paying for, doing the shopping for you so that you can accomplish all of your insurance goals. This mobile TexAgs Live studio is brought to you by Rollo Insurance, and they're involved in so many different ways in the community. But they're the very best, right? They're going to take care of you from your home insurance, your ranch insurance, your business insurance, you name it. You'll see them all around town. I've got Morgan taking care of my account, but they've got a whole team there. Jason, Jackson, Keith, Morgan, everybody at Rollo Insurance. The website is RolloInsurance.com/TexAgs. That is RolloInsurance.com/TexAgs, or call them up 888-44-ROLLO. Nick almost fell. 888-44-ROLLO. He'd probably need some insurance. Is Rollo Insurance.
I wish I had Olin here for it because he loves energy drinks. Catalyst Citrus Spark. This is one of the new flavors out there. Whether you're grinding through workouts, cramming for a test, or closing in on a deal, or getting ready for TexAgs Live, you never know, right? Fast becoming the go-to fuel for Aggies everywhere. Zero sugar, I'm all in for that. Or synthetic sweeteners, no artificial colors or flavors. Catalyst delivers clean, high-performance energy with smooth, crisp taste that is never syrupy, designed for both health and hustle. You want to get going, you use this Catalyst right here. It's about pure energy and pure results. And what sets them apart? Packed with premium nootropics blended to boost focus, clarity, and mental stamina. I need this. I'm in, guys. I'm in. Plus, with plant-based caffeine, vitamin B12, B6, Catalyst supports metabolism and energy production, making it more than a drink. It's your lifestyle training partner. Built for competitors on the field, Catalyst fuels strength, focus, and pure results. Buy now at drinkcatalyst.com. That is drinkcatalyst.com. Train harder, think sharper, pure results. It's Catalyst. Everyone, David Nuno here for Allen Honda. Had a great conversation with them earlier today. John Allen's the owner. He's been here forever, and also their GM, Rusty Skinner, great guy. Wonderful conversation. They're super local. They're a family-owned dealership, not some massive auto group, and they treat their customers like family because they basically are family. They're Aggie alums. They love Aggie sports, and they've been serving the Brazos Valley with integrity, with passion, and commitment to excellence for over 50 years, which is very rare, by the way, for the independents because people trust them. And that's why they've been doing it for such a long time. Whether you're looking to buy, lease, or service your vehicle, you can count on them for transparent, no-pressure experience that puts your needs first. And I can attest to it. Had a great conversation about my own situation with them. Their knowledgeable sales team will help you find the perfect Honda to fit your lifestyle, from fuel-efficient sedans to versatile SUVs. Leasing options are flexible and affordable, making it easy to drive the latest models with confidence. And when it comes to service, their certified technicians only use genuine Honda parts to keep your vehicle running at its best, whether it's routine maintenance for major repairs or whatever it may be. And we know that trust isn't given, it is earned, and that's why generations of local drivers right here in the Brazos Valley and Bryan-College Station keep coming back to Allen Honda. As part of the community with Aggie spirit in their hearts, they are here to make everyone's visit wonderful. So visit their showroom or their service lane and find friendly, efficient, and memorable situations when you go to Allen Honda. Come see why so many College Station and Bryan drivers choose Allen Honda for their automotive needs, and remember, gig 'em.
We're back here at SEC Media Days, brought to you by Paragon Financial Advisors, TexAgs Live in Tampa, Florida, and our friend Trey Wallace of Outkick and Fox Sports joining us. What's up, brother?
Man, I'm here. Everything's kicked off. We're good to go. There's Capitol Hill lobbyists running around here, along getting in the flux of everything. It's exciting to get to football season. Best way to put it.
The hardest part about doing a morning show during SEC Media Days is I miss everything that's happening in there, right? Sankey spoke, and then you broke the news to me that the Michigan report came out.
Yeah, no, fascinating timing. Michigan, and look, the Big Ten and the SEC don't mess around. They still kind of get at each other. Michigan released, literally, Sankey said 2 words, and then Michigan announced that Ward Manuel will be out at the end of the calendar year. Catch that. So they're going to let him stay on.
Right.
for the next 6 months, and then he'll be gone. They released the findings too of their investigation.
Yeah.
Shocker.
Yeah, of course.
Not much is in there.
No.
We're not going to take down the whole athletic department just to fire Ward, and that's essentially what they did. I mean, they fired Ward Manuel. He'll get a nice buyout. He'll sign a big old NDA to not say much, and then it's moving on. So yeah, Michigan does it at the same time Sankey takes the stage, and God bless college football.
So I've seen tweets, but I don't really know everything that Sankey said. So what was your big takeaway from what Greg Sankey said today?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is it's not a farce. It's not a leverage play that they are discussing self-enforcement. And I agree with that. And Plan B. Talking with multiple people in Washington, D.C. about this, they know the SEC and the Big Ten are looking at that part. And
looking at it together or looking at it separately?
Not looking at it together, but looking at it how they can establish it in their own conference.
Okay.
Not Tony and Greg trying to run everything per se through that, but looking at, take the SEC for instance, where the SEC would set up their own rule structure, who would govern that, which would be fascinating. The first time a school sues the SEC, in a Birmingham courtroom. Can't wait for that. But that's something that they are looking at. And to be honest with you have to. Each conference has to. Because if you don't pass this legislation and whatnot, which it's going to be tough, you have to figure out a way that you're going to say, okay, NCAA, we're going to break away here, and we're going to do things our own way because we don't trust you anymore. So that part to me is a little fascinating. I think that him saying that it's not a leverage ploy was very brash. I give him credit for saying that because that is something they're talking about. So that one to me stood out. I think that the college football playoff, him saying that, I'm paraphrasing here, but essentially there's nothing that's been proven in the media yet, from what we can see, media rights and whatnot, that says 24 is the best thing to do when we have 12. I would agree with that right now. I think that, unless there is another billion sitting around, what are we adding 12 more teams for? So, and I've been a proponent for stay away from 24 teams. It's too much.
Right.
There's not 24 teams in the country worthy to win a national championship. There are 24 teams that are worthy of putting up some television ratings.
Sure.
So that's what they're worried about, financials. So I think there are a number of people in the SEC that are like, how can we come up with more money? 24 teams. But when you really break it down and get to it, I don't like that idea. I think that we're fine where we're at. If they were to go to 16, I could say, okay, cool. Whatever. I can deal with that. I think 24 is just too much.
What is this that they're trying to cap how many teams can join? And the number was 19. Explain that to me.
So it's 20.
Oh, it's 20 now. Okay.
Whatever. Not that far off.
But 19 seemed ridiculous.
19. So yes. So essentially, what's going on here is you have representatives of Maria Cantwell and Ted Cruz, both senators, trying to find a middle ground. So they're saying, okay, what would make this work? Okay, you can't add, in this case, over 20 teams to your conference. And if you do, and then the other kicker is, too, whatever team leaves for another conference has to have a 5-year window where they're an independent school. So let's say Texas Tech were to leave Big 12 for the SEC. For 5 years, though, they'd have to be independent before they join the SEC. None of that makes sense.
It's not going to happen.
No, it's not going to happen. This is another leveraging ploy that I think some folks, and this is, I don't mean that in a mean way towards the folks in Washington. I honestly think they're trying to find a compromise with the SEC and the Big Ten. But this is another one of those things. It's what can we do to make this work? And that's not going to make it work. You can't tell me that having a school sit out, but also you can't tell me the conferences are going to want to cap at 19 teams. The SEC that's adding 3 more, the Big Ten that's adding 1 more.
It feels to me, Trey, that they're just wasting time. Okay, because you've got till sometime in August and then there's the recess. And
August 6th.
August 6th. And then there's big business that they got to take care of that's not college football.
Right.
So what are we really doing here? I think the faster thing that can happen is the self-governance, which is why Plan B is actually maybe not Plan A, but we better work on this as it evolves to Plan A.
Yeah, I think that you can get not knowing the full outline of it, but I think that you can get to Plan B a lot quicker than A. And I think that self-governance, you can fix. And look, the SEC is already self-governing themselves in a lot of different manners. You know, so I think that would it be a stretch if something crazy were to happen and the SEC breaks away and whatnot? I mean, I could see that down the road anyways. If the NCAA, you know, if the SEC wanted to make the most out of what they had when it comes to financial standpoints, is okay, football, you break away, you're your own entity, you negotiate with the players on your own, not with the NCAA, and you keep basketball, baseball, and all the other sports underneath that NCAA umbrella. I think that where we're at right now with a lot of this is, you're right. A lot of it's just talk.
Yeah.
And I think that
it's been that way for 5 years.
Brother, they got 3 weeks. Like, let's have an honest conversation. They have 3 weeks to pass this on the Senate floor. And if they don't, guess what? They're going to take a break for a month. They're going to come back and they're going to go stump. And it's going to be midterms. Right. And they're not going to care about college athletics. Because you know what? The average everyday citizen is not worried about the Protect College Sports Act. Yeah. I'm not trying to be rude when I say that to the legislators, but man, I got, you know, fix my gas prices and my milk, and then we'll discuss other things. So that's what the average everyday person is thinking of.
Let me ask you this about if they were to break away. Okay, they break away in football.
Right.
What does that mean? Like, does that mean they're not playing Big Ten teams? Does that mean or does that mean we're just breaking away from a rule standpoint, but we'll still play the game? And like, I don't even know what that could look like.
You would have to find a negotiating way to still play Big Ten, ACC, Group of 4, Group of 6. I'm sorry, teams. That could happen. Breaking away is essentially doing what you're doing now from a self-governance of handing, you know, if a player gets a hard personal foul in a basketball game, the league can suspend them for a game or two. Right. Like, that's what we're talking about. Now, it's more heavy than that. Self-governance would be NIL, it would be transfers, it would be eligibility. But to get back kind of to your question of what that would look like, I think that you would see other conferences start doing the same. So again, at the same time, you're still going to play these other schools. You just have to figure out how to put your own rules, you know, in place. So that is the tricky part, because nobody's. I'm sorry, I don't want to watch SEC versus SEC postseason. You know, I can do it.
That's the SEC championship game.
Right, exactly. I can do it the regular season. That's great. So I don't know. It wouldn't get that far. I think, you know, in talking to multiple people about this from the outside, I think that you're looking at something where you're just trying to find rules that work. And once you can do that, you know, we'll see. But I would say keep an eye on the next 3 weeks. And if they don't get anything passed legislation-wise, then it is what it is. We move on and whatever. It's football season anyways.
I already think it is what it is. But let me ask you one other business of sport question. Let's just say the conferences agreed. All right, fine. We're not gonna, or we'll keep it at whatever the number is.
Right.
Are they scrambling to do that ASAP? All right, we got to call Florida State if you're the SEC. We got to call Clemson. We got to call North Carolina. Do you think that's happening, or is it such a far-fetched thing? It doesn't matter, David.
I think the conversations are already not happening with like Florida State and Clemson, but I'm saying, who can we go out and get? If we wanted to make a call tomorrow, and by the way, you know this better than anybody.
Yeah.
Those conversations are easy to have. Hey, man, if we hit you up next week, like, you down?
Yeah.
We roll? Like, yeah. I think that's what makes it kind of tricky is how fast would the Big Ten move if it was something like that? And they could only add, let's just say 1-2 more teams, whatever. It's not going to be like that, but let's just act as though. Okay, they're going to call Miami real quick, say, hey, Miami, you ready to go? You know, Clemson, ready to go? You know, and then, you know, and each conference, I think, has an outline of who they would go after and who they would want. I think we've all heard it in the past, you know, and reported on it. You know, Virginia would be one of those schools. So, yeah, I don't know how fast it would move in terms of that in the lining, but I think it would set up a fun few years of who the SEC is going to add next to the equation, and they're going to be very smart about it too.
I lied. 2 other questions.
Yeah,
one quick question is on, do you think the SEC, though, wants to keep it regional? They've always maintained that they do, like keep it southeastern-ish, right?
Right.
Yeah, so to answer that part.
I don't think the SEC is going out and adding Washington State.
Okay.
You know, I'm not doing it.
Doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't make sense. And I agree with the regional part of what the SEC does. 100%. Like there was, in my personal opinion, there was no reason for the Big Ten to add some of the schools that they added to the equation. I know it makes sense financially, but logically it just doesn't. I think that when we look at what the SEC is going to try to do here moving forward, a lot of it's, again, it's going to depend on what happens here in Washington. But at the same time, these athletic directors and presidents and everyone from the SEC, they're meeting every week.
Right.
Like, so when you see a breaking report, the SEC presidents met.
Yeah.
Okay, well, they met the day prior to.
Yeah.
In a normal meeting.
And the week before that, too.
Right. It's a weekly thing that they're doing right now. So I think that, again, the next 3 weeks are going to be pedal to the metal. But I think at the same time that I think in some form or fashion we're bringing this in for a landing.
Last thing for you.
Yeah.
It sure feels like there's not a dominant force in the SEC like we once had. I mean, obviously, 3 straight national championships the other way.
Yeah.
But is there a team that could be that dominant force in the SEC this year, or are they all really, really good top-tier teams?
I think they're really, really good top-tier teams, but I'll say this to say this. If Steve Sarkisian does not get it done this year at Texas, and I'm not saying you have to win a national championship. Winning a national championship is tough.
Right.
If Steve Sarkisian and Texas are not in the semifinals this year, they have a problem in Austin. Yeah. Because that lineup, the amount of money they spend in the portal, and what they have coming back, I'm telling you, if it's 3 losses, something along those lines, there's a big old problem. And I don't know how long. I'm trying to preface this the right way here. Texas would then have to make a decision. It's like, man, if we went all in here and we couldn't get anything done in terms of a title, and again, I'm not saying you have to win a national championship, but be in contention for that.
Yep.
That doesn't happen with this squad. When's it ever going to happen for Steve Sarkisian? So I look at Texas as kind of one of those teams where you got to go prove it now. Like last year, I was one of the steadfast ones out there that said, give Arch Manning grace.
Right.
Like, give him 6 games, then we can talk about it. So, again, he got better. I think Texas A&M, man, I could put Texas A&M like right underneath Texas. Yeah. And I think that, these games this season, especially the opening couple of weeks, brother, I mean, it's going to be bonkers. Yeah. I'm excited about it. The lineups that we're getting, I do think, though, there is a 2 or 3 team hierarchy.
Sure.
And then we get down to the rest. And like LSU, yeah, they have the talent and whatnot, but let's go see them do it on the field. It's a hard time to say, hey, some of these teams are going to win immediately. But I do think, going back to even at A&M, I think what Mike Elko has continued to build, what he did in the portal, I love them defensively. I love me some Marcel Reed. Texas A&M should be a team that we're having a conversation in November as, okay, this squad might make a run here in the CFB.
Thank you, brother.
Absolutely.
Always great seeing you.
It'll be a fun week.
Yes, sir. Trey Wallace of Outkick here on TexAgs Live. We'll hit a break. Our friend Connor O'Gara will join us. We'll chit-chat with Con about all the great things happening here at SEC Media Days. Right now, a moment for Caldwell Country Chevrolet. Highway 21 in Caldwell, online at caldwellcountrychevrolet.com. If you're in the market and you're looking for a new vehicle, Caldwell Country Chevrolet is the place to take care of you. They've got great customer service, great pricing, great people, and when you put that all together, you're going to drive away with an awesome experience and an awesome vehicle. They're locally owned. They have an Aggie alumni team that's ready to roll out the red carpet for all their customers. And remember, every new vehicle purchase comes with that free oil change for life as long as you own that vehicle from Caldwell Country Chevrolet. It's about a 15-minute drive, the edge of Bryan to the beginnings of Caldwell. Short conversation away, but you'll see the difference when you step on the lot and do business with the good people at Caldwell Country Chevrolet. Highway 21 in Caldwell, online at caldwellcountrychevrolet.com. We are back here at SEC Media Days on TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Mobile Studio. And this presentation is brought to you by Paragon Financial Advisors. Our good friend, contributor to TexAgs, Connor O'Gara, here with us. Next Round Live. And remind me of the name of the podcast show.
The OG Kickoff.
The OG Kickoff.
Yeah, look, I've had people that have shortened it already and have just said the OG, which I'm fine if anyone ever wants to do that on air. Like, that's perfectly fine. The reason we didn't stop there and why we added Kickoff was because there are podcasts that are called the OGs. Yeah. Like, I think it's Udonis Haslam has one that's already called the OGs. But if you want to just shorten it, that's perfectly fine too. OGs, OG Kickoff, whatever floats your boat.
Oh, and I see the play on the letters too. OG, O'Gara, what?
So it goes double. And the reason why we did this is like, all right, so my nickname, my life has been OG, even though I'm very much not cool enough for that nickname at all. And when I found out what it meant when I was in like middle school, I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. My co-host, Will Ogburn, we always make the joke. His last name is spelled O-G-B-U-R-N.
Yeah.
We would have sat next to each other in school if it was alphabetical order. So he is an OG as well, and I am an OG, so we are the OGs.
You are the OGs. What was your big takeaway from Sankey today?
Sankey did not flex in the way that I thought he was going to. And I'm kind of glad that he didn't. Now, he still said, look, we had this unsatisfactory conversation with the college football playoff about strength of schedule and the things that went into that. He seemed to still be hung up on that. Talked about adding the 9-game conference schedule, knowing that they still require these teams in the SEC to have that power conference game in non-conference play. And the thing that he seemed to want to harp on was like, look, the SEC kind of exists in its own world, and they've regulated the league in the way that others have not. That's a source of frustration for Greg Sankey. He talked about breaking away. Could the SEC eventually just do its own thing and say, you know what, everybody else in power conference football, you guys do your thing, we're going to do ours. We feel like we can sell a media package to it. I don't think that'll ever happen. He said it's not leverage, but he's still very much frustrated with the way that things currently are in college sports. He's probably not alone.
So I had a long conversation with Trey earlier, Trey Wallace from Outkick, and buddy, I feel like this is all just, we're wasting time. I don't feel like there's any real progress happening, at least when it comes to the Protect College Sports Act and everybody getting on the same page. I feel like we're just chatting to chat. Like, we're doing a talk show just to do a talk show.
I don't care about the Protect College Sports Act anymore. Am I allowed to say that?
Yeah, you can say it.
Okay. There are a lot of things I care about in college football that I am so excited to get into. And when someone starts discussing that, I just tune out. Like I naturally am. I'm at that place. Just tell me what's going to happen when it's going to happen. Until then, the speculation of, oh, this person is going after this agenda and this person tells you that this is going to happen. I don't care. I just do not care. I would so much rather talk about whether or not a 9-3 team from the SEC is worthy of being in the college football playoff, who has the toughest schedule in this conference, which quarterback could rise above expectations. It's Mario Taylor. What are the things that actually we're talking about when we're sitting here in October? And yeah, Protect College Sports, I understand it's really important for the future of what we do. Until there's something that's actually said and it's not just talking, I just can't. I can't really care as much as maybe others do.
I don't watch C-SPAN in my real life, and I don't want it in my college sports or any athletics.
Gosh, seriously, like, in what world is that the most pressing topic of conversation? Like, I'm not a C-SPAN guy either. Not to go down the political road, but like there are just very few things that can actually get me to care, and that's just certainly not one of them.
All right, so let's go to that question you said: a 9-3 SEC team worthy of the college football playoffs. Now, under the right circumstances, absolutely. What do you think those circumstances has to look like?
Those circumstances, I think, are going to be really interesting for teams like Oklahoma, maybe Texas A&M this year, because I look at Oklahoma's schedule and I wonder, is that the most difficult in all of college football? I'd probably still give Ohio State a slight edge in that department, but we saw last year with Texas. a 9-3 team who, I'm not sure if you guys heard this at all, they were pretty upset that they got left out of the college football playoff, despite the fact that they had these top 10 wins. And let's not pay attention to what happened at the Swamp to a Florida team that fired its head coach and won 4 games. So let's not pay attention to that at all. But that can't be part of your resume. That can't be part of your resume if you're 9-3. And so if you are going to be that first 9-3 team to make the college football playoff in the 12-team era, that's what we're talking about here. That would indeed be a breakthrough. I would tend to think you can't have one of those dud losses, because that's the game that everybody says, nope, see, your floor is too low. You have to have quality losses, which is an overused thing as it relates to the college football playoff. But if we're talking about 9-3 teams, close losses to legitimate contenders or teams that are going to be in the field, and maybe even one of those situations where your third loss is kind of a raw deal. Yeah. And maybe it's a bad call that costs you one of those big time games. So I think that's kind of what we have to look at. And I always knew that with the 12-team playoff era, like 10 is the number that you're going to want to get to. Where I was wrong is that there have been 10-win teams that have been left out of the field. I think there's been 6 power conference teams who have won 10 games in the regular season and have been left out of the playoff field. So it's not as much of a an end-all be-all as much as I thought it was going to be. But yeah, for those 9-3 teams that have really difficult schedules, as we sit here and talk about them in July, I think that's going to be a really big sticking point. And you can see Greg Sankey kind of opening up that floor now with the 9-game conference schedule.
Out of curiosity, the 9-3 Texas team last year or the 10-2 Vandy team last year, Texas beat Vandy. Correct. If you had to pick one of those two teams to have gotten that extra spot between those two, who would you have picked under that scenario?
Well, I would have picked Texas. I would have, because look, Texas beat Vandy. I thought Texas had the ability to play at that level. And I remember being there in the Swamp and seeing what that team looked like when it was in shambles. Yeah. So I do think that matters. Whereas, if you want to get into like Vandy's losses, they lose that game to Bama, which was closer than what the final score indicated. And then they lose the game to Texas, which was probably not as close as the final score indicated, because they really fought back down the stretch there. But yeah, Vandy's wins aged horribly. Texas's wins aged a lot better. So I would have given Texas the bump in that scenario. Would I have wanted to see Diego Pavia in a college football playoff game? Yes. Sign me up for that every day of the week. But yeah, look, those are the types of discussions that we need to have. And we haven't necessarily seen that really play out in the way that many kind of hoped that they would. And it still feels like there is a default to number of losses more so than strength of schedule.
I want to go to your 10 storylines O'Gara's watching at SEC Media Days 2026. And from these, the one that I think is going to be discussed over and over and over again is LSU at Ole Miss. I want you to kind of paint a picture of what you think that's going to look like. On this show, we talked about the baseball version of that this past year when Schloss came to Olsen Field, and that was crazy. Lane's already been down that road before in Knoxville. So what do you think it's going to look like at Ole Miss?
Pure cinema. I can't wait. September 19th. My God. This is the type of game that I realize, because of when it's being played in September 19th, for those who don't already have it on their calendars already, you should. I realize this is the type of game that we could look back on 2 months after the fact and go, that game didn't mean as much as we thought. Yeah. I don't care, because I kind of like when we get these September headliners that we get to talk about for 8 months. I think it is the biggest SEC game since Part 2, Johnny Manziel against Alabama. Yeah. And I really think that the buildup for that game, this is what we're talking about in a much different context, of course, because of the Lane Kiffin breakup. And I do think that it's the type of game that if you're not a fan of this sport, you will tune in to watch, because that atmosphere is going to be off the charts good in Oxford. And I can't wait to see what that reception is like. I can't wait to see how Ole Miss talks about this. We don't get LSU until later in the week, the last day here at SEC Media Days, which maybe that's a little bit calculated. But I love the fact that we're getting something like that. We need storylines in this sport. Lane Kiffin, like him or hate him, man, he's provided some content over the course of the last 6-7 months. And I think the fact that we're getting those two teams who both feel like they have real legitimate playoff aspirations playing on that stage. It's the game that I'm looking forward to more than any other on the college football calendar in 2026.
Connor, as always, amazing stuff, my friend. I appreciate you coming in, and it's good to do it in person every once in a while.
You know, we need to do it in person. Zoom is great. In person's way better. Love contributing to TexAgs, by the way. It's been an absolute blast so far, and seeing the response that your audience gets. Your audience is so strong, and so it means a lot. So thank you for everybody who has followed along, and looking forward to getting to do this during the regular season, man.
People don't know this, but I think we talked about it once on the air, but when I started at TexAgs, I reached out to Connor on Instagram, of all places, because I read one of his articles. I'm like, hey, buddy, we got to meet up at SEC Media Days in Hoover. So always great work, brother. Thank you.
Thank you, man.
Connor O'Gara. We'll hit a break. Open segment followed by the 10 o'clock hour with Billy Liucci. Right now, Milliken Reserve Time, farm-to-table community in College Station. They got homes, they got trails, they got farms, they got wide open spaces, and they have a mission to build a healthy community around nature. They have 2,600 acres of open space. They've got farms, they got 30 miles of trails, and they've got beautiful homes when you go to Milliken Reserve. That extensive and awesome network of trails throughout a wooded landscape is beautiful. It's a place for families to cherish generation after generation. You're going to love it. Your family's going to love it. Get a Conservancy membership. I think you're going to really enjoy that and the awesome neighborhoods there. They've got the creek, the hollow, the meadows. Check it out at millikenreserve.com. That is millikenreserve.com. All right, we are back here at SEC Media Days, brought to you by Paragon Financial Advisors on TexAgs Live. Shout out to our YouTube audience. Shout out to our friends at the CW at KBTX. Shout out to who else? The Zone, 1150. Our good
TexAgs.com.
TexAgs.com. Shout out to them. Twitter, X.
And
Shout
then
out
Space City Home Network. But
Space City.
This segment's not going to make it.
This segment won't make it. So
David by himself now.
I think I'm going to adopt a Conor O'Gara mentality when it comes to this stupid, fake.
You don't care anymore?
No, I only care if they're going to fix it, right? When we're talking about college sports. I only care if it's like going to get somewhere. Don't get me wrong. We got 15 hours to fill. Like I'm going to bring it up when it's a storyline, when there's new news to it. But he's exactly right. And I've been thinking this for years. Like, it's just fake. You ever, like, I'm trying to give an example. Fake hustle guy on the court. Now, Nick might say, that's you, David. No, mine's real hustle.
Yeah, you're very real.
That doesn't equate to anything. I'm talking about that one guy who does that fake dive for the loose ball on the court that we all know he has no chance, but he wants to make it look like he had a chance to get there. Or the guy who dives on top of the pile on a tackle, on a gang tackle, that everybody's like, oh, yeah, he was there. He was almost there. No, it's fake, okay? And I'm done with fake. I'm done with fake people. I'm done with fake college football regulation. Like, just, I am not smart enough to figure out college sports, but I do know if you got 50 of the most influential people in college football together, you could figure this stuff out, if you will, at a dinner at 1775. I think you can figure it out.
Yeah.
All right, all right, guys, we're gonna try. We're gonna do 5 years, and this is and then in 4 years we'll see what we liked, what we didn't like. Okay, here it is. Everybody sign. Boom. Our founding fathers were able to figure it out. Okay?
A country out.
Yeah, they did it. Okay, they didn't have the internet. They had wigs. They were all gray wigs
They
too.
didn't have Chat GPT. How'd they do that?
Yeah, like all. So if they could figure it out. If freaking Christopher Columbus or whatever person who came on the Nina de Pinta de Santa Maria, whatever it's called, if they were able to navigate the deep waters, all right, from Spain to the Americas, then I think we should figure it out. That's what you call wasting a segment. We'll be back. Back into TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers in the Rollo Insurance Studio. It is hour number 3 of the show, and this SEC Media Days coverage is brought to you by Paragon Financial Advisors. From Aggieland to clients all across the country, Paragon delivers personalized financial planning and investment management. Learn more at paragon-adv.com. Chad Withrow, our dear friend, is with us. What's up, brother?
How we doing, man?
Good to see you, man.
Yeah, it's a nice annual meeting here at SEC Media Days. A little different than Atlanta a year ago. We've got the view of the canal. It's a canal, right? Yeah. The canal across the way. This is nice. Not bad at all.
So last year, you guys had, was it the suite at the baseball at the All-Star, right?
We had, we were at the Omni next to the ballpark.
Yep.
Clay had a nice suite overlooking the All-Star game.
Yeah.
That was the setup last year. No big setup this year, unfortunately.
I was invited to go, but
Billy Liucci was there. You didn't.
Yes,
you didn't go.
I didn't.
Yeah.
But let me tell you, you know why? Because I'm an old man, brother. Like, I get tired. I have all the right intentions, and then I'm like, you know what? I'm good. I'm going to wake up at 4. I'm going to bed.
David, we got in yesterday, and we went to a 6:30 dinner. Yeah. And I was like, I'm going to go back to the room, chill, get a good night's sleep. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, I slept like 7 hours and not a full 8 last night, even, because I just couldn't fall asleep. And I'm feeling it a little bit today.
You're dragging?
The more, I'm getting there, too, where I really need a good night's sleep. I'm with you.
Do you try to get 8 always?
If I can, that would be ideal.
Yeah.
I often don't. Anything over 7, I'm typically okay.
Yeah.
But I mean, anything around 7 or below, if it stacks up days like that, which it tends to do at events like this, then eventually I'm going to feel it. Day 2 or 3 for sure.
Yeah, 100%. I'm sure our audience is captivated by this conversation about sleep and sleep apnea.
The audience knows what we're talking about right now. We're not breaking any news to them. They need their full night's sleep also. I mean, it's it can be an issue, but nice hotel set up here. Going back to Nashville, my hometown, a year from now. So
I'm excited about that.
I'm good with this being a 1-year detour, but I like that sort of Nashville, Birmingham, Atlanta. Selfishly, I like that rotation.
Well, I do want to talk. I don't know what you can say, but talk to me about your future and what you guys are doing.
Yeah, so no longer with Outkick. Jonathan Hutton and I, we've hosted a show together since the beginning of 2012, initially on radio in Nashville and then digitally. And we are going to continue hosting a show together. It's going to be called The Hutton and Withrow Show. It's going to be available on YouTube, Spotify, wherever you get podcasts, you can go and get it. I can say that we are going to be part of a larger network that will be a full day long network of shows. That network has not been announced yet. In the next couple weeks, I think it'll make a lot of sense, and it'll make sense for everyone about the broader structure of the partnership that we're doing. And I'm really excited about it. I mean, look, it's getting a chance to host with Hutton. We've got, good chemistry having done the show for so long. We can do a really SEC/State of Tennessee, Nashville, based show with this, and not, always trying to do the national angle of what's Shohei Ohtani doing, what are the Yankees up to. That part of it's going to be nice too, because that's not something that I love. I don't feel like anybody in New York or Boston really wants to hear me talk about their teams, right? Being a Nashville guy. So it's going to be, kind of a return to what we know more than anything else, which I'm excited about.
Definitely returning to your roots.
Yeah.
Is there a team or a situation that you feel pretty like, I am sure that this team is this? And it could be a good thing, it could be a bad thing. If you look through the 16 teams in the SEC, who are somebody you think, I think I know them?
I think, starting at the top, Georgia and Texas. I feel like Georgia's the one I even know more about than Texas. But I feel pretty good about their talent, top to bottom, on both those teams. And I'm like, a lot would have to go wrong for them with a ton of injuries for them not to be, playoff caliber type teams.
I think we're sleeping on Gunnar Stockton a little bit at Georgia, right? Like, of all the returning guys,
That
John
happens at
Mateer,
Georgia, doesn't it?
Yeah, Marcel Reed. I mean, these are guys I want to see, and I'm excited about this year. Arch Manning, obviously, another one that everybody's going to be talking about. But I think we're sleeping on Gunnar Stockton as a leader and a really good player for that Georgia team. So, look, I'm excited to see a lot of these players and coaches come through. But if I had to say what I feel really good about, I feel really good about the talent at both Georgia and Texas, and that they're going to be at or near the top of the conference.
All right, so I kind of look at it as there's a tier 1, but then there's two parts of tier 1. I'm not ready to go tier 1, tier 2 with the second part. I recognize the Georgia, Texas top of the tier based on the talent. I look at the next group as if they hit on these players, then they are in that same group. If they don't, they can certainly drop to that tier 3. And I put A&M there. Oklahoma, I'm still trying to figure out because I think they're going to be really good because I've been told they're going to be really good.
Yeah. Ole Miss would be there, right? Yeah. I would put LSU there with Sam. And Sam Leavitt's the big X factor there. If he hits, I think they're going to be really good. I would put, in my state, I'd put Tennessee in that sort of middle tier that if Faison Brandon, who I think will be the starter, he was a top 5, top 10 ranked player in the country, second quarterback. And then the number 1 quarterback in the country is going to Vanderbilt and is going to start as a true freshman in Jared Curtis. So it's tough in this day and age of college football to pick a team that's going with an 18-year-old kid at quarterback and say they're going to be great in year 1. But I think if that hits, because we've seen Josh Heupel have success with any quarterback he has, if that hits early for Tennessee, I think the defense can be way improved. They did very well in the transfer portal. I think Jim Knowles is a great hire as a defensive coordinator. I think getting Derek Owings, the strength coach, the day after Indiana won the national title and paying him as much as he wanted to come and lead that program for Tennessee was a smart move. So I think Tennessee has a chance to surprise there. But that middle tier, and that's what Greg Sankey was talking about earlier, it is stronger than anywhere else in America. I mean, the Big Ten's got a lot of bragging rights for the national title, and the top of that conference is elite and is as good as the top of the SEC. But I think when you get to that middle to bottom tier, that's what separates this conference. Is there are teams that could realistically, some of them, if everything hits right, win a national title. I'd put Texas A&M in that group. You mentioned Oklahoma, I'd put in that group. There's a number of teams I could see getting hot.
Chad, back to that first-year starter at quarterback. If they're 18 or if they're 20 years old, I have this philosophy is when you're a young player like that, I think it's going to take time. It took time for Arch. Now, not everybody's Bryce Young that can figure it out day 1, right? But I think it takes time. And when you have other questions along with quarterback, especially in such a deep conference. That's why a team like Tennessee, I question. I question Alabama. I don't know if I should, but I mean, yes, I should based on the way the trajectory feels like from the Saban days. Do you follow me on this?
Yeah, I think Tennessee and Alabama are good examples of this. If you are the expectation, if you're going to bring in a Sam Leavitt, a 23, 24-year-old guy, Joey Aguilar for Tennessee a year ago, even though he came in post-spring practice, the expectation is they're going to be really good from day 1. I think it's a different level of expectation. You can bring in a transfer who started and played somewhere else, and they should be good from day 1. That's what you're paying them to do. That's the expectation. If you're going to go with a freshman or redshirt freshman quarterback, which Tennessee's going to do, with either George McIntyre, the redshirt freshman, or Faison Brandon, the freshman, or Jared Curtis at Vanderbilt, or a year ago Bryce Underwood, who's supposedly this generational talent, he struggled at Michigan, right? I mean, you're going to struggle in year 1. So if you're a young guy starting out, I think the expectation is it's going to take some time, and it's not going to hit right away. I think Tennessee has two things working against them, especially early in the year. Jim Knowles' defensive system is tough to master. It's going to take some time to get that down and what they're doing defensively, even though I don't think talent's going to be an issue on defense. They're going to be way improved from a talent standpoint. And you're breaking in a new, freshman, not just new transfer 24-year-old quarterback. That's going to be an issue. If it's Keelan Russell at Alabama, same thing. A young guy, tons of talent, tons of potential, but how long does it take to get going? Because there's not a single SEC schedule that is forgiving. There's different levels of impossible when you look at the schedules, but the ones that stack up early, Tennessee's got an early SEC date with Texas in Knoxville, right? Are they going to be full go at quarterback and with that defense? Probably not, and that's going to be a difficult thing for all those teams that plan to start one of those young guys at QB.
Are you one that likes this 9-game SEC schedule?
Not really, honestly. That's more of me just being. We talked about our sleep habits earlier. That's me just being an old man.
Yeah.
I like it the way it was. I don't mind having 3 gimme cupcake weekends for your team, where you can go and make it happen. You're going to win no matter what. And playing one tough non-conference game. I don't like the method of, hey, let's go schedule 4 wins automatically. I want one tough non-conference game, and that I think with 9, it lowers the potential for teams to go and schedule the way they need to based on the season and where they are as a program. Is it good for television? Absolutely. I think if you are a third-party, impartial fan of sports, then it's great for you, right? Because you're going to get way more impactful games and big matchups every single week. Me being the old fuddy-duddy that I am, I kind of like it the way that it was. And I like it when my team had 4 wins most season to start because of the non-conference.
How much of A&M's success this year is predicated on Marcel Reed taking a step, or are they more predicated on the areas around him? I know quarterback in the SEC makes all the difference in the world, but is it about it? Is it about Marcel taking a huge step, or that O-line, that D-line, and the defense doing what Mike Elko defenses typically do?
And replacing Concepcion, is going to be tough. There's some guys you got to replace there. I think it's all about Marcel Reed. Look, I would say that about any, Josh Heupel's a great example of Tennessee. What you're going to get with the offense. I think Tennessee's going to score some points this year, even with a freshman quarterback, right? I know that Deshaun Bishop's probably going to rush for 1,000 yards. Everybody he's put in that system does, and he did it a year ago. They're going to run. They're going to rush the ball. They're going to run it a lot. They're probably going to run it well. They got a veteran offensive line. It's all about the other side of the ball.
Yeah.
It's all about the other side of the ball. I feel that way with Elko. If they have it figured out with a veteran quarterback and they're scoring points, they're going to be a playoff caliber team. That, it's really as simple as that. And I could say that about any year. This could be rinse and repeat.
Yeah.
If Marcel Reed is what we think Marcel Reed is, then I really think that A&M, the sky's the limit for this team, because one thing I'm confident about with that program is who Mike Elko is, his identity, and that his defense works. Right? And I think it's going to work this year. I think they're going to continue to recruit at a high level the way they have been. And I know there's been some recent recruiting wins for A&M also. And as long as that's the case in the formula, if they get it right at quarterback, it's all about that other side and taking care of that. And if they've got the right offensive coordinator in place and Marcel Reed is clicking, I think sky's the limit for A&M.
Before I let you go, a couple of the teams talking today. Kentucky, A&M gets them early on, first SEC game. And I look at them, I'm like, I just don't know what to expect when you completely switch a team's identity. And by the way, they did pretty good in the transfer portal. They were really good.
Kenny Minchie is a guy I covered in high school, like Marcel Reed. I had some of his games on television locally in Nashville. Their new quarterback played at Pope John Paul II in Nashville. Really, really talented kid, really good kid. I think he's going to be good at quarterback. I know Nebraska, he originally committed there. They really wanted him. So it wasn't just like, Kentucky went and overpaid for a guy who's never really been a starter in college football. There was a lot of interest in Kenny Minchie to be the quarterback. So that's a big win for Will Stein to start. I just think of Kentucky, and I like Will Stein. We've interviewed him on the show. Very impressive. John Sumrall, same way. Ryan Silverfield, a guy I've interviewed about, good guy. I like him. With a job like Kentucky or Mississippi State, or I'd put Arkansas there, I like all these guys, but who knows? I could sit here and say, I think Will Stein in Kentucky, I like his idea. I like that he's from the state. I like that he grew up a fan. They're going to be really good. I could say that till I'm blue in the face, but I just don't know, because those programs, it's so tough. Jeff Lebby at Mississippi State, right? I like Jeff Lebby. Is Mississippi State a place where he's going to win ultimately and stay there as long as Dan Mullen did? I don't know. Ryan Silverfield, I think, is the guy with the least amount of buzz here. Right? Does anybody have any expectations for Arkansas? Not just now, but in the future. Are they making waves in recruiting? No. So there's so much to prove, and I think those guys getting in the SEC, young guys, the way they are, it's just so hard to predict. But I think early returns are good, that this is not going to be the same stale Mark Stoops type Kentucky team. Mark Stoops had a ton of success there for what that program is, but it grew very tired as the years went on. And I think you're going to get a new infusion of energy and a shot in the arm with Kentucky this year. Is that sustainable? it's tough to say for a program that's always going to value basketball way more than football, regardless of where the money is.
Last thing for you, Missouri, another team I'm struggling to figure out because I believe in Drink. I think he's a really good coach. Change the quarterback, they seem to get results regardless. But I don't know. I just don't buy him as much this year.
Stat that I was reading earlier today, Missouri has won, I think, 29 games in the last 3 years. That is only worse than Texas, Georgia, Ole Miss, and Alabama in the SEC. Right. I think it's tied for 5th. I think Tennessee may be right around there too, but tied for 5th. That shocks me because of what we think of the Missouri program, right? And that also tells me, like, I kind of get Eli Drinkwood's whole personality of this chip on my shoulder, smart aleck type guy that nobody likes us. We do more than everybody. But I'm with you. I still don't buy it. They've got, I know Ahmad Hardy's got his issues, obviously, but great 2 running backs in the backfield if both are healthy. I don't know anything about Austin Simmons other than at one point Lane Kiffin thought he could be the starter at Ole Miss, so I guess that's a good sign. But yeah, there's always something missing with that program where I just can't go all in. Maybe it's the rock formation in the end zone, which we like to have a lot of fun with. Missouri fans are very ticked off at us about that we disrespected the rock. I just can't buy into an atmosphere when your end zone is covered by stones that form the logo. Like, if it's not people, right? Like, I'm ranking Missouri very low in terms of atmosphere for a college football Saturday because of a rock formation.
Especially in the Southeastern Conference.
Especially in the SEC, and especially when a rock fixture is your claim to fame. I can't buy in.
A&M, a 9-win or above team?
Yes. Let's go right at 9 wins.
Right at 9 wins.
I think 9 wins, and I think 9 wins get you into the college football playoff.
With that schedule,
end of it, By the way, I was on your show last year, and I said A&M.
Yeah, you did.
I liked him as a dark horse college football playoff team, and look what happened. So,
and you like him again.
Hopefully, luck strikes again for you guys, and you can make it happen again.
My brother, thank you for your time.
Great seeing you, man.
Yeah, and when everything's official, come back on, all right?
Absolutely, will do.
Appreciate you.
Yep.
Chad Withrow here on TexAgs Live. All right, we'll hit a break. We'll come back. I think Billy is going to be joining us. Right now, there's something special about Guarantee Bank and Trust. They're a community bank, and they want to take care of you. They've been around since 1913. They have over a century of experience helping out Texans. Great seeing you, brother. And they are not at a corporate tower far away. No. They're right there in your community, guys, in Bryan College Station. Their market president is Brandon Sears. He's a proud Aggie. He's awesome. He leads that team. 3 locations in the Bryan College Station area, but they're all over Texas, right? You'll see them all over the place. 33 locations across Texas. They've got the reach of a big bank with the heart of a small bank. They are fantastic, and I'm going to tell you right now, guys, you're going to love when you go there. They're a local Texas bank making local decisions. Go see Brandon and the team at Guarantee Bank and Trust. Visit gnty.com. That is gnty.com here in Bryan College Station and all of our Texas communities. Guarantee Bank and Trust, a division of Glacier Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender. Welcome back to the Complainers here at SEC Media Days, brought to you by Paragon Financial Advisors. Billy Liucci's with us, and Peter Burns of the SEC Network. PB, what up?
I'm so sick and tired of everybody. I'm so sick and tired of you guys being sick and tired of everything. What's the deal with the complainers part?
Thank you.
Is this a real thing?
I'm going to name them Nick, Nuno, or Nick and the Complainers.
Yeah, why am I in the mix?
Ever since I've got here, all I've heard is complaining.
I mean, listen, look, you're in Tampa.
Yeah.
You've got, again, $1 million studio right in front of us.
Yeah, look at this.
And so this is fantastic. You look like you came off of vacation. Everybody well rested. I mean, listen, it could be worse things in life.
I know.
Can you imagine having to cover the ACC?
Oh,
the Big 12.
Yeah, we do.
Big
we
10.
can't imagine that.
Yeah, we
used
did
to
it.
do it. There were like 3 of these things. It was. We didn't even go. Burnsy, we didn't even go to Big 12 Media Days, and no one cared. This was also 15, but no one.
Yeah.
When we first got here in 2012, as a media entity, we were shocked by Radio Row and the Winfrey, and it was like we've never seen anything like that.
The old school Winfrey, man. That's when you know you're an OG media person. You're like, remember the Winfrey days? You'd go out Chick-fil-A in the mall, or get some Panda Express right there in the middle of things. So it's nice. This has been fantastic, and I mean the storylines galore. And it feels, I don't know about you guys, I feel more naked going into this season than I have in a long time.
I agree with that.
Right?
Great way to put it.
Just because of the turnover and transfer portal and who's on what roster, and that guy's here and there. So actually, this is one of the first times in a long time I come in, I go, I actually really want to learn and see if the coaches tell us anything. But it's tough whenever you've got 40, 50 new guys on your roster, and these guys are trying to figure out what the hell they have.
It's funny you say that, because today people asked me, I said, man, I'm way less interested in what's said by the A&M contingent, because I hear that all offseason, and we do the interviews, and I talk to my sources or whatever. Today, there are 4 teams. A&M plays all 4 of them. Today, to me, is a learning day. Yeah. I want to, like you said, listen to these guys. I also, when you say it feels naked, I also think of that when it comes to predicting the outcomes. I think there are about 8 teams that could go 10-2 to 7-5 this year, easily.
Yeah,
and then you factor in the 9-game schedule.
What does that sound like? It sounds like NFL football on Sundays,
true.
Right? And so, and that's what it is the NFL has a salary cap that they stick to it. The SEC is almost spending them at the same amount right now. I joke around about it, but it keeps getting bigger and bigger. But every single school can do that. And I think that's the reason why we have to recalibrate what we think is success. And I think that's part of the frustration that Greg Sankey has to go, wait a minute, the 9-3 here playing a 9-game conference schedule and every single school cares about football. Like you go to the Big Ten right now, and yes, 3 straight national championships. That is awesome. There's no doubt. I'm not going to poo-poo that because it's great. But how many of those, 18 teams that they have, like all in on football? 5? I'd say probably 5 to 7 of them, okay? In the SEC, give me one school, because it used to be Vanderbilt. They're all in. Okay, State still is all in, that their fan base cares 365 days a year that football is going to be good. I would say 16 of the 16 right now. And even look at Missouri, that was kind of, all right, what's good in Missouri? They've been good over the last couple of years. So I think that's the part where the NFLization has arrived here in the SEC, but the fan base is still look at it. And even media, and even the college football playoff looks at it in the old school way that we had for 100 years of, hey, we don't have this much parity.
Yeah, I worry about that a great deal, because I had some A&M buddies of mine. I was literally 2 nights ago to a wedding. But 9-3 on this schedule we get in. I go, it's not really true, because
depends on who you lose to.
Who else is 9-3?
And that's
do I think an SEC team will get in 9-3? Sure. Yeah. It might just be one.
Well,
and you're not going to put. I don't think.
And that's what happened a couple years ago, right? It was Alabama, it was South Carolina, and there was another team that was 9-3, and it was just easier to say, you know what? Everybody kind of has the gun pointed at each other. Like, let's just not deal with the 9-3 team. It was an easy out. The College Football Playoff Committee always doesn't make the right decision. They make the easiest decision for them. And so that's what's going to happen. And now, you're going to have a bunch of teams that say, you know what, instead of going on the road and playing a Notre Dame, which was monstrous, right?
Yeah.
Why do that? Go play Tarleton State. Go play, Texas State. Go get your backups in, score a bunch of points, and now have to realize what the 9-game schedule is. I think more and more people are going to realize, and I'm curious what you guys think, there's a lot of reservations about going to a 9-game schedule. I don't think there's a doubt.
Peter, do you think the NIL era, which was supposed to help the SEC, has maybe potentially hurt the SEC because, A, you have so much parity, so many teams that can do it, while the other conferences can't, and then those conferences, top fourth of it, can go all in, or the top 6, 7 from the Big Ten?
Yeah, I think I think overall, if you're in the league office, you want every single one of your schools to be competitive. It's fantastic about that because everybody can be competitive right now. But at the same point, you no longer, Mike Elko can't say, you know what, I'm going to play a second string. I'm going to have a second string kid that I know in 2 years it could be a first round draft pick. He needs to learn how to play. I can't do that. I got to put him out there early. Hey, I got to pay him a boatload of money to come to school. Okay. And if he gets there, if he plays really well, I'm going to have to pay him a boatload more. Or if I say, you know what, you're not quite there. Don't put you in bad situations. Are you going to complain that you're not playing? Right. Is somebody going to be in your ear going, hey, listen, you can, we lost 2 players. We need you to come in and we'll pay you a boatload of money. So now I think the GMs are going to be as important, if not more important than head coaching going forward, which is wild to think of, but that's really what it is in the National Football League.
Talking to Peter Burns here on TexAgs Live. I was just expecting the natural progression.
It's so funny because you get waiting and you kind of figure out, like, hey, does he get pulled over to another interview and whatnot? So I was like, damn, did I say something wrong? But I don't know. So one of the questions that was asked to me earlier today was about Marcel Reed. Yeah. Been fantastic as an LSU fan. I still have the scars of what he's been able to do. But is he the game changer? Like, do you feel confident that he has grown up to, in those moments, he can take over a game that we didn't see over when we were hanging out with you guys last time we saw you against Miami?
Yeah, I think he has to be for this team, and I think people focus a lot on those last 2 games. And my biggest thing was they couldn't run the football in the last 3 games, counting South Carolina too. He was able to take over against South Carolina without a running game, not against defenses like Texas and Miami and Simmons and Mesidor and Bain. He needs to do that, I think, more so this year. But I think you'd say the same thing about John Mateer, about
no doubt they couldn't run the ball.
Obviously, Trinidad,
Alabama
who did
couldn't run the ball.
But I'm saying the quarterback has to be that guy. It's Mateer, it's Trinidad, it's Levitt, it's Arch, it's Stockton. All of them dudes, to me, have to make a noticeable jump this year on that 9-game schedule you talked about for their teams to get in the playoffs. Even the two, even Arch and Trinidad, who, to me, Arch, it's more on, hey, what was the trajectory? With Chambliss, it was the actual way he finished. Even those 2 guys, though, I think, especially with the transition in Oxford, they're going to have to step up and be load carriers.
And here's how we come full circle as we're ending this, right? What happens? Who makes it to the Super Bowl? It's the quarterbacks that take off. The defense have to be good, everybody, but it's the guy that takes that next step, and that's who wins it all.
There you go.
PB, thank you so much for your time, brother.
Thanks, boys.
All right, buddy.
Great seeing you, man.
No complaining.
We didn't even get to get on Doring.
No, we'll do that.
later.
Listen, that'll be after 11 cocktails.
Exactly.
See you, boys.
Thank you, Peter Burns. All right, some companies are proud of what they started. Paragon Financial Advisors is proud of what they continue to call home, and that is, of course, Bryan College Station. Their Aggie owned and operated Paragon was built in Aggieland, and today serves clients nationwide with personalized financial planning and investment management. With their team that has reach across the country, their values haven't changed. Integrity, relationships, putting clients first. Whether you're planning for retirement, helping your family build a generational of wealth, or preparing your business for the next chapter, Paragon is committed to helping clients make confident financial decisions with a long-term perspective. Discover what makes Paragon different at paragon-adv.com. Paragon Financial Advisors, built in Aggieland, serving clients nationwide. DC Media Days coverage is brought to you by Paragon Financial Advisors. It is TexAgs Live. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers in our mobile Rollo Insurance studio. Billy Liucci is with us here. Billy, what's been the big takeaway so far today?
In an hour.
It's been more than an hour.
Huge takeaways.
Some of us have been working since 5 a.m.
Just incredible takeaways so far. I'm gonna.
I'm sorry that you can talk bear attacks and do things. Some of us are here to do real college football talk, Billy.
Yeah. What's your big takeaway so far?
My big takeaway is I'm sick of this fake trying to fix college football. It's not going to happen. That's my takeaway. It's fake.
My big takeaway is I think Greg Sankey probably agrees with you when it comes to at least this Protect College Sports Act. That was my big takeaway. Was that I think he feels the same way about it as I do. I think there are so many holes, so many flaws in it that I think he's kind of right there with me and a lot of us, where it's just like, what are we doing here? Like, how far off is this thing? How much is it missing the mark? And again, I think if you look at where it's originating from, which a lot of it is Cody Campbell and Ted Cruz, I think a lot of that is you see why it's missing the mark, and it needs a lot of fixing. And my other big takeaway hasn't happened yet because I'm wanting to see. I listened to Venables for a little bit, Clichéables as I call him. Clichéables.
You just made that today. That's new, right?
Yeah.
As I call them, as I just made.
I just listened to 76,000 cliches in one interview. Mike Elko, I know you don't do that. Please don't become that. Clichéables was tough to listen to, but I really like their team this year with that defense. And my big takeaway, though, is everyone's going to ask us about Marcel Reed. I can already tell. Everyone's going to ask us about Marcel. But I think that's going to be a takeaway for everyone this week. I think the quarterbacks are going to be the talk. Questions about the quarterbacks, okay? Marcel, Mateer, Gunnar Stockton. Can he go take a next step and get Georgia back? I know they're still playoff team, but the way their last two seasons ended, can he get them back? Lenora Sellers, okay, Sam Levitt in LSU, Trinidad Chambliss, he finished the year better than any of them, but it's okay, can he do that without Kiffin and Weiss? Arch Manning obviously is going to be the talk, but I think if you're asking, the real questions, it's going to be, Can he make that jump? Can he make that big jump over there? So to me, quarterbacks are going to be the talk of this thing. And they always are, but to me, way more so than ever, because I think they're going to dictate and define directly how this more so than ever, define how this finishes. Because you look at every school we're talking about that's a contender, and then you throw in schools like Alabama and Tennessee that they're complete wild cards with new guys. You look completely panicked and flummoxed and flustered right now by whatever's going on.
No, I just communicated with my producer, as a great host should, about tomorrow.
If you guys didn't know, this is what I'm looking at.
They can see. They got the freaking camera on, bro.
Nick's over here going. It was just, I'm trying to talk through it, guys. It was tough.
You know what we all saw from you in the beginning of the 10 o'clock hour? That's what we saw.
What was that?
An empty chair. You come at me, I come at you.
Yeah, because I'm going around representing us around the region.
It helps. It helps the brand. Billy, from the 4 teams that are talking today, okay?
Yeah.
Does A&M have to beat 3 of those 4 today? And obviously have to do more than that, but to be a playoff-worthy team. Of the 4 that are talking today, you need to at least have 3 of those 4.
Kentucky, Missouri, Oklahoma, Tennessee, yes. And then, by the way, if you do that, then you can lose 1 out of Texas at South Carolina, Alabama. And that doesn't even count.
LSU.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So if you go 3-1 against these 4 today,
it ensures nothing.
You better go 3-1 against the other 4. And I think the other 4, it's a lot tougher. I mean, look, you get Tennessee at home. I do think Missouri takes a step back, mainly because of defense. If they get Hardy back, it'd be interesting. But Kentucky's new to it. And OU, I think, is one of your toughest games. It might be your toughest test of the season because it's on the road, because it's the week before Texas, and because OU is not going to give up a lot of points.
Yeah.
And they've got a quarterback that I think when he's on is really good.
Yeah.
So, but it could go either way there depending on how good the A&M defense is. So 3-1 in those 4, and then you got to go. I could see them going 3-1 in those 4 though. Today's.
Yeah.
But if you do, you can 3-1 at Alabama, at LSU, against Texas, and at South Carolina. That's how tough this schedule is. Could you get in at 9-3? Sure, but I keep saying I think it's going to be like one team that gets in at 9-3.
So winning all 4 of these, which is, again, end of the season with Oklahoma on the road, is going to be very difficult. Basically, nothing ensures you anything.
Such a weird angle, by the way, but with that.
I'm sorry, complainer. What was that?
Go ahead.
I'm just saying.
Trying to match y'all's complaining.
Nothing ensures anything in this conference, right? Especially with that 9th game. Because we just did 8 of the 9 games. We didn't do all 9.
No, I mean, that 9-game schedule is going to be, again, I just don't know that the playoff. Look, playoff committee today, you see what happened to Ward A. Manuel? It's Ward Manuel.
As Greg Sankey's talking?
It's Ward Manuel, but there's an E on it. So Ward A. Manuel, he was the head of the playoff committee. Then you had the guy, I forget his name already, the guy from Baylor that had to recuse himself from leadership. You had him, who was the old U of H guy, and then you had Juracek, who's over there, doing 6-7s. 6-7. All right. Like, that's what the playoff committee is choosing to dictate
the future,
who gets into the field and how an entire season wraps up. That, to me, is the most startling thing when you look at who they've appointed to head up these committees in the last couple of years. It's disgusting. It's disgraceful. And so you think they're going to do this right in terms of factoring in the SEC, adding that 9th game and really looking at No, they're not. I got an answer for you. It ain't happening. So if you think you're going to get 3 9-3 SEC teams in there, good luck with that. So all of the fans and all of the people, go 9-3 at your own risk. You can talk about how tough your schedule is. Unless you're Texas, who played Ohio State, maybe OU, who's at Michigan. That's about it in terms of you can still probably feel pretty good about getting in at 9-3.
But you would consider 9-3 in the SEC with most of these schedules a successful season, correct?
Successful, yes. Playoff, it's not up to them.
No.
But yeah, I mean, look at A&M and give any 3 losses you want and look at what the wins look like. A&M at 9-3, I would think you got to learn a lesson though, Davey Boy.
Davey Boy Smith?
Davey Boy Smith.
Yeah, British Bulldog. Come on.
Yeah.
No longer with us. That you can fact check me, but I'm sure of that.
Most wrestlers, you can say that.
They died.
Speaking, I'm going to try to go, I think maybe tomorrow, I want to take a little half day and go to Clearwater and go check out the Hulk Hogan shop, whatever it's called. Going back to what was I talking about just now when I said Davey Boy? Oh, you got to learn your lesson. We don't really know how tough the A&M schedule is going to be. We think we do. We thought Florida was going to be, so everyone here thought Florida was going to make a big jump last year. Everyone here thought South Carolina and Sellers were going to be unstoppable. He was going to be the unstoppable force. Everyone here thought Nussmeier was a top 5 draft pick last year.
Wrong.
Yeah, and so because of that, the A&M schedule got a lot of. Everyone thought Hugh Freeze might take Jackson Arnold and reform him. Wrong again. All those were on the A&M schedule. Fortunately, I don't care. But with that said, I think what you're looking at this year is we think the A&M schedule is going to be brutally tough. But any way that you get to 9-3 on this schedule with what we think it's going to be is going to include probably more impressive wins than they did 11-1 last year at 9-3. Because last year, if you really went through, and we're being like, I think people need to count LSU, and you need to count, obviously, Notre Dame was one of the most impressive wins of the season. So to me, like by other standards, that number should be 2. I think if you got to 9-3 this year, that number will be 3 or more at 9-3. You know, let's say you lost at LSU, at OU, and to who?
Lost to LSU, lost to OU, lost to South Carolina.
Okay, so then you would have beaten Texas.
Yes, I have to give us that.
You would have won Texas, and you would have won at Bama, and you would have won at home against Tennessee. I mean, but that's not exclusive to A&M, and that's what I try to tell my friends, our fans. Like, that's everybody, and you're worried about if Marcel's going to make a jump. Well, we need Marcel to get better. Yeah, guess what? If they're being honest in Norman or Baton Rouge or Athens, you're saying the same thing, and they better be saying the same thing in Austin as well.
Billy, maybe it's because we've talked to some Tennessee-based guys today, but they seem higher on Tennessee than I am, and I don't know where you are on them. But again, when you have young quarterbacks taking over, like I just you're gonna have to show me something in the middle of the season for me to buy into it. Where are you on Tennessee?
I think they're going to be tough, but I agree. Like I'd take where A&M's at. Oh, you got questions? Okay, he got a quarterback that you know is really good. Now, whether he can take the step to be great, TBD. But at the very least, you've got a really good, experienced quarterback. And what would they be saying right now if they'd have brought back their QB from last year?
Joey Aguilar. Yep.
They'd be going crazy.
Yeah.
But now they don't bring him back, but it's okay. No. It doesn't work that way. I do think, though, people are underestimating Tennessee, meaning people like us, the way they've recruited and the players that are still in that program.
Yeah.
Along the lines of scrimmage, at the skill positions.
They can run the ball.
I think they're going to be able to run the ball. I think they're going to play defense. Like, that's a tough game for anybody that has to play them. And by the way, the team that everybody, down in Austin thinks is going to go roll their way, they got to go to Baton Rouge, to Kyle Field, and to Knoxville, Tennessee. That's tough. And that doesn't count Ohio State and Ole Miss at home and OU in Dallas. Like, they got to play OU, A&M, LSU, and Tennessee all away from home. And then they get Trinidad Chambliss and Julian Sain and Jeremiah Smith at home. It is everyone, A&M included. Like, it is, no one has a schedule that you look at. You want to see something crazy? Go look at Ole Miss. Look at OU.
Yep.
OU, I'm sitting there listening to Venables spew cliches, and I look up and I go, they're at Michigan, and that's probably a tougher Michigan team with Whittingham.
Yep.
I think OU beats Michigan because I don't think Underwood, I think that defense eats him alive. I don't believe in him yet. But you got at Michigan, then you got at Georgia. I think it's at Georgia. You got Michigan, Georgia, and Texas in your first 5 games. Go 1-2. And you might have to go 7-0 the rest of the way to make the playoff. So it's everyone. It's brutal. I think it was a mistake going to 9, but hey, it'll be fun. It'll be a wild season.
By the way, Fratello brought us some food to the office the other day.
Oh, did you try it?
I had the Fratello. Okay, I lied. I had a bite.
That's not a Fratello. Those were pizza rolls.
Pizza rolls. From Fratello, excuse me.
One was pepperoni rolls. The other one was, I'm going to say it. It was my suggestion. A chicken parm roll.
Yeah.
Dice up some chicken parm. Say, if you're going to make a roll, put some mozzarella in a really good soft roll and with a little stuff on the top of the roll to make it tastier. Then do it. You're already making chicken parm. Cut that stuff up, put it in the roll with the mozzarella, dip it in some marinara. They were incredible.
What I appreciate about what they did, people stayed in Warts longer.
They did.
They were there.
Yeah,
usually, there's a crew that leaves and they're gone for hours. they stayed.
Yeah.
Yeah, so thank you, Fertella, for keeping TexAgs working correctly. 3901 South Texas Avenue in Bryan. Discover why it's more than a meal. It's a tradition. Is Fertella. On TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. This SEC Media Days coverage is brought to you by our friends at Paragon Financial Advisors. Chris Doring stopping by the table. We'll try to catch up with him this week here on the program. But tomorrow on the agenda, what's up, CD? How you doing, man? Good to see you, brother. Tomorrow on the program, or at SEC Media Days, we'll have Auburn, we'll have Georgia, we'll have South Carolina, and Vanderbilt. Only one A&M opponent tomorrow, and I am very interested in hearing from South Carolina. That's a game that I think I overtalked.
You're scared.
I'm scared of it.
Bleepless of it. Like
yeah, I'm scared. I admit it.
It's a little much, but I get the why. I agree. Like, I circle that game, but like, you're like, I hope the players you're running in fear.
Yeah, but you know why? I was right about them last year. More right than anybody in the country. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. You can go back to SEC Mike's show here last year. Okay. I said Lenore Sellers was going to have a huge disappointing year.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not expect that from him.
Yeah. I did.
I'm worried about their O-line.
He's really good. He's great.
He showed in the first half against A&M. Yeah. Look, so much is made of Marcel and the receivers and what A&M did offensively in the second half of that game, which I thought was perfection. I'm not sure the A&M defense didn't play better in that second half. The Aggie defense in the second half of that game allowed nothing. No points, but also they made Lenore Sellers, like, South Carolina had the ball after that catch by Nick Harbor about 30 yards away from attempting a game-winning field goal after all that. And they just they sacked him, they tackled him, they sacked him. It was incredible. But anyway, I am interested to see if Shane Beamer walks up to the podium doing this tomorrow.
I may do that with him. Billy, thank you, buddy.
All right,
talk to you tomorrow on the show. I'm sure we'll talk about South Carolina. That's going to do it from SEC Media Day. It's brought to you by Paragon Financial Advisors. We will catch up with you guys tomorrow.